Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Captain's Log, and followed by the Captain's Cabin tonight. And we've got a special thing going on tonight. We've got a guest for the Captain's Cabin. So stand by till after the Captain's Log. We'll talk about it a little bit more. So here's something I want to ask you and present to you as we enter into the log tonight. There are nights when you realize that the storm isn't outside the ship. It's the stories being told on the shore that you just left behind. Every crossing demands a story, and tonight I want to talk about the ones that we tell so we can keep moving. And I've been thinking today about how people survive pain, not bravely, not cleanly, but necessarily. And so tonight, the Captain's Log is The Necessary Monster. And I want to read a little poem I crafted just today. And this is what the log is based on. The Necessary Monster. When the crossing comes and the water is dark, the mind fashions a beast to give the feet courage. It is not born of hatred, but of need. Teeth are assigned, a story is spoken until the shaking stops. Better to say I was hunted than to say I could not stay. So the fire is lit, the tale is repeated. Those who listen nod, for survival prefers a chorus. And yet, bread is still given, light is still offered from the midst of ruin, as if kindness itself. I lost my place. You know why? Because I don't have my glasses on. I'm squinting too much. And yet bread is still given. Light is still offered from the midst of ruin, as if kindness itself might serve as evidence. Thus, grief forges armor and names its truth. But beyond the telling, beyond the shape that it required, there abides a quieter thing, unmoved by witness, untouched by belief. It waits not to accuse, not to plead, only to remain what it always was before the story needed claws. So tonight's Captain's Log, The Necessary Monster. It's not about blame, it's about navigation. There are moments in life when the water goes dark beneath the keel, when the passage ahead narrows, and staying feels as impossible as leaving. In those moments, something ancient stirs in us. We don't always cross because the far shore is calling. Sometimes we cross because we convince ourselves that something behind us is chasing. And so a monster is fashioned, not out of cruelty, but out of need. You know anybody like that? Have you ever done that? We talk about it when I talk about ancient apologetic. When I looked at the life of King David out of the Old Testament, his story reads like an apologetic. And the apologetic, what would it do? It would make the hero look much better and make anybody that is opposed to him or that he considers opposition a vile enemy, when they might not have been that at all. It's an apologetic that gets written. A shape is given teeth. A story is repeated until the hands stop shaking on the oars, and witnesses are gathered because survival prefers agreement to silence. We've talked about echo chambers in former captain's logs. A very good way to tell when somebody is creating story in order to bolster their flight is that they allow no truth, honesty, or wisdom to form out of varied accounts and varied reactions to the story. They must close out anyone who does not prefer their preferred story. So I've learned this: pain doesn't just hurt, it rearranges perception. It teaches us what to say out loud and what we can't yet bear to say quietly to ourselves. And here's the hard, tender truth of this: people can still be kind while telling themselves a story that isn't whole. They can give bread, they can offer light, they can love fiercely, even as they stand inside the wreckage. That doesn't make them villains, but it doesn't make the monster real either. Because beyond the noise of the telling, beyond the clause a story requires to justify the crossing, there is something quieter, something that does not accuse, something that does not plead. It simply remains. And sometimes the bravest thing a captain, we're all captains of our own ships, the bravest thing they can do is to keep sailing without demanding the sea explain itself. No matter the temptation to fight the narrative, sometimes the best thing you can do is be quiet and grow in yourself. Because many monsters are imaginary monsters created for the sole purpose of escape and saving face in the process. So tonight, I've got some affirmations for you as well here. Let me call those up here. I just got to make sure everything is good here. Good. We've got our guest waiting in the wings. And so affirmations tonight. If you're listening from your own dark crossing, let these things settle. Say them after me or come back and review them. I do not need to be cast as a monster for someone else to move forward. I can acknowledge pain without surrendering the truth of who I am. I trust that what is real does not require rehearsal. And I will not chase a story that needs me to disappear to survive. And I remain what I have always been: steady, human, and fully wide awake. Now let's give the benediction for tonight, and we'll be done with our captain's log for tonight. May you rest tonight without sharpening your defenses. That's a tough one, even for me. May the stories told about you lose their teeth in the quiet you bring to the table. And may you remember what is true does not have to howl to be heard. Ever notice how false narratives have to keep repeating themselves and bolstering themselves, as opposed to letting the quiet of the truth speak? So sleep well, everyone, tonight. Get things like these out of your minds, because I know we all face them and we all have them. Keep your ship steady. The stars are still there, even when the water is dark. And stay the course. Now, we're going to switch gears. Captain's log is done. And in so being finished, I'm going to release our Instagram audience. And Instagram, thank you for being there. Appreciate it. Come on over to the YouTube channel, and you can view or you can join the chat room that's going to be going on live and our special guest tonight. So we'll see you over there. Good night. Good night, Instagram. All right. So now, when we were doing now, by the way, folks, anybody new here? The captain's cabin is what we're entering now. So we've only been doing this for a few days, about less than a week. So I'm going to play a little intro. It's the intro to the old captain's cabin, which was always the after show to the Intrepid radio program. I think that's going to be a good way to bring us in tonight. So sit back. Here we go. Well, Arden Avast, and welcome to the Captain's Cabin. I always thought that intro was a little bit longish, and I never did re-record it or re-put it together. So here we are in the Captain's Cabin, and this is something where I'm going to be building up to starting to reintroduce a podcast radio show, and this is the way we're starting off. And I want you all to take a listen now, because I've got a guest tonight. Somebody maybe some of you know, and some of you may have met her. Some of you may have heard her before or heard of her before. This is a very dear friend of mine for many, many years, Nancy Planetta. And I've known her for probably 25 plus years. I have always known Nancy Planetta. When I first met her, she was an organizer of an event. She was a psychic and intuitive, but let me qualify that. She was not your Sylvia Brown type of a psychic. You know, she was not somebody who put it out there and said, send me your $85 and I'll do a reading for you. And that was not what she was about. She's very real. And I would say that she is probably, of all the people I know, there are two psychics that I respect and appreciate. One of them is Sarah Harmon, or you may know her as Paranormal Sarah, and the other is Nancy Planetta. Anytime she's ever read for me, she has been spot on the black and white money, and she makes no bones about it. And she is, I would say she's low key about it, but everybody who knows her knows she does this, but she's not out there promoting. And so I am going to bring her and let her explain a little bit more about herself and tell you a bit more about herself. Nancy Planetta, also known as Wiccan Vixen. She is here with us. Nancy, are you there? I've just got your...
I'm here. I've been struggling with my audio video. I threw myself off. It was pretty fun.
I saw that. So do you have video tonight?
You know what it is? I'm trying to get charge on my device right now. I didn't have enough charge, but my device was like, yeah, no. But devices don't like it when I do things anyway. You know that. I tend to drain batteries, so yes, I'm like, plug in. But how are you, Scotty?
I am doing well. And
you look great.
Why, thank you. Have you seen my haircut?
I have not. All I see is a cap.
You ready?
Yep. It's all gone.
It was almost so all gone to begin with.
So you're going for the Picard look? Is that what this is?
Well, I engaged and made it so. No, I for years, the last 3-4 years, I've been saying, I'm going to shave my head. It's just too thin. and it was dumb. And so I finally shaved it off. Now I may grow it back. I may not. We're going to see what happens. It's
I kind of
stubborn.
like it. I mean, put it this way. I think, I don't know. Men and women are different with their hair. Women, like I was telling my daughter the other day, because my hair is all the way down to my waist, and my daughter's like, "Good God, Mom, your hair is so beautiful." I said, "Listen, this is like the last time I think I'm going to be able to get it this long, because as you get older, it gets much harder to keep long hair." So I'm like, 55, yep, I'm ticking out. So this will be the last time. But yeah, I mean, guys, I know my husband Rafi, he gets it once a week, shaves high and tight.
Oh, is he like me?
He's
He's
starting to a little bit, but he's got that Latino blood in him, so he's got the real thick dark hair.
So he's bald on top and he's got thick hair all over his body.
Yes, right. And it's fun because, you know, as he ages, he always keeps the high and tight, but he's getting conscious of the grays starting to show through and everything. So.
Yes. Well, even as I shave it off, you can see it's starting to grow back. You can see the white. It's all white. And this is a little darker on top, but it's actually coming back in on top, but I don't know what it's going to look like. So,
dude, we were like spry chickens when we met. What happened?
We were. What were we? Let's see, 25 years ago. Well, I was around, when I met you, I was around 38 to 40 years old. And you would have been what?
I was in my early 30s. That's
right. And so we met at probably a ghost hunter event, something like that. And then you threw your own event somewhere along the way. What year was that when you did your event? Do you remember, like 2009? Uh-oh. We may have lost Nancy. She'll call back in if we don't pick her up again. So
I hear you. I don't see you. There you go. Can you hear me now?
I hear you now.
I don't know why I did that. It like timed me out. That was weird.
What year did you do your
no, that was 2008. I think I met you.
And
I met you though 2003, 2004, because I owned the Ghost Hunters chat on the IRC.
Right.
And I owned and built it.
The IRC chat.
Yeah.
Let's see. And that was about the time I got involved with my wife. So about a year or two before that, because I happen to remember distinctly talking to you from the bar in my apartment. I had a big bar, and I would sit there on my laptop and talk to you and other people in the IRC chat.
Yep.
So.
Yep. And you were still you were still talking with your old wife. We met.
Yeah, my old wife.
Your first wife. Yep. And your twins were young.
My twins at that time would have been, well, by the time 2002 came around, they were 10.
Yep, so, they were kids. They were kids.
And guess what?
And my kids were little kids.
Guess what, youngster? They're now going to be 34.
Oh my God, Scotty. Okay, so my kids were little, and now I have 9 grandchildren. So let's go there. Let's just go there.
Well, I will say this with all compliments, Rafi. You got to take this. You're a hot grandma.
Oh, thank you.
So you can tell by her picture, folks. That's recent. So 9 grandkids she's got. All right, Nancy, I want to talk to you about the very first thing is about your psychic abilities. Now, as I said when I was introducing you, that you are not one of those psychics that's like, call me and for X number of dollars, I'll do your reading. You know, you're not a Sylvia Browne.
No.
And it's something I neglected to say at the very beginning, folks. This is not Sylvia Browne triggered it for me. This is not a Sylvia Browne session. We're not saying bring your questions and Nancy's going to answer them. That's not what this is about. This is interviewing Nancy, and we'll let her decide what she wants to do with any of that. But that's not why I set this interview up. I want you, Nancy, to talk to all of us. And by the way, folks, you can pose your questions to Nancy about what we're talking about. I'm not looking for psychic questions. So, Nancy, tell us about your psychic intuitive gift, how that started, and define it for us, because everybody starts lumping psychics all together. You know, when I was doing all the Ghost Hunters events and things like that, and we'd go hang out at the bar afterwards, have a couple of drinks, mingle with everybody that was there. So many, if I had a dime for every time somebody walked up to me half drunk saying, I just want you to know I'm psychic. And I'm like, okay, bullshit. And, you know, that's the way I reacted to most of them. I think most psychics don't have to wear a sign to say I'm psychic. So tell us about your experience. What started it for? How did you know? And tell us what it means. What is an actual, genuine, bona fide psychic?
Well, that's a big ball to hold on to. I was born into a family that there are gifts in the family, and it's something that actually was not acknowledged. Family is Roman Catholic, and from a very, very, very young age, like as far back as I can remember, I would see things that everybody would swear were not there, but I would see it solid as a rock. First experience was my nanny, who I saw on a stairwell. I was playing hide go seek with my siblings, and we lived in a 5-story colonial. And literally, we were in the back servants' stairwells, and we were not supposed to be back there. My parents, it was a rule, do not, because if you fell, it would be impossible to find you. But my brother and sister and I were playing back there, and they were older than I am, and we heard my mother coming into the kitchen, and she was calling for us, and they basically kind of abandoned ship and left me there, and scrolled down to the second floor and out through the it's like a hidden access panel. And so I'm sitting there by myself in the dark, and my nanny came down the stairs, and she sat with me, and she comforted me. And Scotty, I have to tell you, I didn't know until years later what exactly happened. But
that she wasn't a real person, or she wasn't a living person?
Well, it was funny because we would recount the story, and my mother would just get this look on her face and shut the story down in mid-sentence. And it wasn't until I was about 18, and my mother said, the problem I always had with you recanting that story or retelling that story was the fact that she had died 2 years previous.
Oh.
On the third floor. That's where her quarters were. They were on the third floor in that house. That's where she stayed, and she had passed away.
Kind of matters for the story. Oh, by the way, the man you keep talking to,
she's dead. And because in the family, these things it's known to run through the family, and it's both females and males in my family. It's not particular. It doesn't sex you first. It's within the bloodlines on my mother's side and somewhat on my father's side. My father's side is different than it is on my mother's, but so it just was like they didn't want to talk about it. It wasn't until I was 12 and I was starting to have prophetic dreams. That's when it really kind of everything came to a head. And I had a dream of my brother getting in a very serious car accident, and I told him about it. And 2 days later, it happened exactly the way I said it would. And my brother came to me and said, don't you ever tell me again if you see something like that. Don't tell me. And I was 12. I was supposed to be making confirmation that year. I remember feeling destroyed. Like, could I have done anything differently? Did I do anything wrong? What did I do? So my mom took me to church to talk to a priest. And the priest told her that it was Satan working.
And the priest wanted to exorcise you.
Pretty much. And believe it or not, at 12 years old, I stepped away. I refused confirmation. I stepped away from the church. Yep. I'm not going to
story, I should say.
Yep. I'm not going to say that I didn't. I spent the next couple of years kind of researching. I started researching dreams. And you have to imagine, I'm a kid, and I'm trying to get a grasp on these things. And I'm reading like, oh my gosh, I was reading Carl Jung. I was reading so many things, just trying to get a grasp. My uncle who was, by the way, a Roman Catholic priest for 35 years, and he stepped away from the priesthood after 35 years. He was also the chair of psychology at Pacifica University. He specialized in dream psychology. And so he actually came to visit, and we sat for hours out on my parents' back porch, and I told him how I felt and what I was going through, and he just looked at me and he said, "Hasn't your mother talked to you about the family? Has she showed you the Bible, the family Bible that kind of explains a little bit of our history? Have you not had this conversation?" I'm like, "No, Mom doesn't want to talk about it at all."
So you are from a long line of witches, of psychics, of intuitives.
Actually, literally in the Bible, in our family Bible, we have 2 females about 200 years ago that were excommunicated for witchcraft because they were healers. And in their village in Italy, they were sisters, and they were apparently famous in their village for helping people, healing their children, healing their animals.
And they were excommunicated for this.
Yep. The local priest was mad, called it witchcraft, and excommunicated
Thou
them.
shalt not suffer a witch to live.
Yeah.
The Old Testament verse. You know what's interesting about that verse, which was the basis for King James doing the witch hunts, for the Malleus Maleficatorum, books like that. Is that verse says, yes, it says, "Thou shalt not suffer a witch to live amongst you," or to live. Well, what the verse is actually saying and talking about in its vernacular, first of all, there were 7 different Hebrew words for the word witch, ranging from healer, herbalist, like a doctor, a country doctor type, all the way up to somebody who casts evil spells with dark magic to do harm on others. And so, in essence, what that verse is saying, in its context, was do not allow not an herbalist, do not allow a evil sorcerer who casts dark magic spells to harm to people live amongst you in your village. It didn't say go burn them at the stake. It said don't let them live among you, the guys who do the bad stuff. And so it didn't say anything about herbalists.
Well, it's interesting too, because like I said, there's a long legacy in my family of prophetic dreamers, healers, full on what you would call a psychic. But I mean, I go, maybe because I embraced it, Scotty, at a very young age, and I wasn't afraid of it. I've never been afraid of it. I get frustrated with it because it's very invasive sometimes. I get embarrassed because it is, I've told you this a million times, it is highly uncomfortable when you can pretty much hear people's thoughts or feel their energy to the point where you know exactly what they're thinking or feeling. Yeah. That is one of the most uncomfortable things on the planet. Prophetic dreaming is horrific because it's very rarely based around happy events.
I'm sure you've done some dream interpretation for me.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, well, the metaphorical. Yeah. Metaphorical dreams are, I love interpreting metaphorical dreams, but direct connect dreams, like, you know how it works with me. I have them 2 days, 2 weeks, 2 months. It's always on a 2, but they are very vivid. And to the point I have all my senses and they are amplified. So like when I was involved, when I had the dream about the Northern Illinois campus school shooting, I told you I was in the building with the shooter and the victims. I could smell their blood. I could smell the gunpowder. The fear was to the level I can't even begin to explain to you. And you have to live that. So it's everybody thinks it's such a gift, but I've always told you it's as much of a bane as it is a boon.
Sure. Now, is it something that, first of all, let me address Steph's question here. Steph Cuervo Queen, she has a question for Nancy about how someone could get their gift. Now, you've talked about this already so far tonight. You didn't actually get your gift. It wasn't like, and I had this weird head injury and suddenly I could see the future. It was you were born with this, and it's from a line of genetics almost.
I think, in fact, I think actually I've told you this 1,000 times. We've had our conversations where I think everybody is gifted. You are all gifted. Everybody has abilities. It's just whether or not, number one, they're living a life that is allowing them to embrace them. Number two, where is your frequency at? Your own frequency, not the frequency surrounding you, your frequency. Is it calm? Is it stable? Is it erratic? I've always told you, I think what I am goes right back down to my DNA and how my DNA oscillates, how it picks up frequency and sends frequency. Yes. I think there's a science to it. And, I know a lot of people say, oh, it's a gift from God. It's a gift from whatever, heavenly features you believe in. I don't believe that. I think we are, as human beings, it's something that's part and parcel to who and what we are, but we've disconnected from it. For some reason, my family lineage did not. It could be the way our DNA was structured. It could have been our breeding. It could have been a million different things. Even for the place where we're at in Italy, I've told somebody this the other day. I found out 2 years ago. The Earth Mother statue? You see the clay Earth Mother statue? Okay. It's very, very, it's one of the, in fact, they recognize it as the first figurine of a goddess. She's got the ample breasts. She's heavy set, but that statue, the original one, was unearthed very close to where my family is from, in Italy.
Oh.
Yeah, and it's funny because I was always drawn to that statue. I have a clay figurine. I've had it for years. And found out recently, I was like, oh, wait, see, whoa. My family's from Parma, which is northern Italy up by the Alps. And it was like, I think they said it was like within the village perimeters of where my family is from. So I always found that to be
that's
very interesting.
You may have a long DNA record that goes way back beyond your recorded family line.
Yes, I can tell you my family goes back in Italy at least 250 to 300 years, at least. Because that's when like the Bible is over 200 years old. But there are things that were written by my first ancestor that had that got that Bible. And it goes back to, it gives family lore.
You're talking about your family Bible being 200 years old.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
When you said the Bible's 200 years old.
No, the family Bible, our copy of it. It's a beautiful piece. I said to my mother, where did the family get the money to pay for that? I thought we were just farmers. And she looked at me, she goes, farmers that are blood related to the Ferrari lineage. And I was like, oh, that's true. Nice. Forgot about that.
Hey, there's people that have questions here. Mm-hmm. And before we get into those, I want to ask you specifically about this whole, and this kind of shifting gears a little bit, and we'll get back to more of your story, but this whole year of the snake that we've been shedding, mm-hmm. and the year of the horse, and not just the horse, the fire horse. And it didn't start January 1st. It starts like this 14th or the 17th of February.
Yep.
So we're still like a week or three out from that hitting us. So what is the significance? The first thing I will say, and you take off from this point, is that we all say, well, I kind of believe in this psychic activity stuff. Oh, I kind of believe in this numerological stuff or this astrological stuff. And then when it comes to applying it personally, we're kind of like, that's that Chinese astronomical. I'm not Chinese, I'm this or that or whatever. So I have always said, all along the way, personally and publicly, that if I say I believe in this stuff and that it works, and I promote it and promulgate it to other people, I better damn well think about how I appropriate it personally. So, having said that, the whole shedding, ending a 9-year cycle, shedding of the snake in 2025, and I will make a note here, 25 can go fuck itself quicker than anything else. Probably, and I will say this without superlatives, 2025 was probably the worst year I had ever encountered in my life on many different fronts. So now, it's shedding. What's shedding? When we say it's shedding, we're shedding the old. And I'm like, there's certain things I didn't want to shed. I didn't want to shed a leg. I didn't, Nancy, I don't know if you've seen this, but I show everybody else. You know,
Dude, I was the one that when you first showed, I was like, "Arg!"
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I saw that on Amazon on the bottom anyway. And no, folks, I do not sleep in the nude. I know you were all going to ask that, but so I shed a lot of things, and there's some things I didn't want to shed that were very painful and very hurtful. But we're entering it. So, what does it mean to have 2025, the last of a 9-year cycle? What does that mean? What is the shedding of the snake? And what does the fire horse mean when that comes?
Well, how do you want this? Do you want this generalization or personal
Give us the general.
Okay,
and,
so the shedding.
I don't know what Scotty's personally about that, but unless you're responsible for it. So.
Oh no, that's not my realm. But I can tell you that what Scotty's referring to is the Chinese zodiac, which is a form of zodiac. A lot of people don't realize there are multiple. Like you have the Hopi zodiac, you have a lot of different lines of zodiac. That's not just the ones that we see generally. Chinese zodiac, we're going through the cycle of the shedding snake right now, which is the very end of the cycle of snake. When you're shedding, and I tell people this all the time, you can look at it as a world aspect or a personal aspect. It means letting go. It means basically lowering the veil. I always say that. It's getting rid of the veil, dropping the veil. And that can be applied in so many ways right now, just in what we're seeing, because you're seeing it move throughout the world.
That's something you told me. If we were to get personal, I don't know how many times in the last couple of months you emphasized to me that very point.
Yep. Well, because it's hard to do, and not a lot. Even when a snake sheds its skin, that is not an easy process for the snake. People don't take the time to actually kind of look deeper into things a little bit. It's not an easy process. The snake has to go through a lot, has to get all the flakes off. It doesn't just, whoops, step out of your underwear. That's not how it works. It's never an easy process, but it's not just about letting go of everything either. It's about waking up. It's about seeing things with newborn eyes, with let go of your preconceived notions. See things as they are. Let's tune the TV in. Let's get this right this time. Start paying attention. The fire horse. People don't like it the way I look at the fire horse. The fire horse to me always represented war. It always represented going to battle. It represented, and like in your circumstance, I would say stepping up to the plate and starting to hit the ball for Scotty. You knock it right the hell out of the park. That's, to me, what the fire horse is always swing away, because literally that's what it's always represented to me. The fire horse in itself, like I said, maybe because of Aries and his fire horse and his chariot, I've always looked at the fire horse as a time period of war, conquering, and reemerging. So when
the way I had heard the fire horse was always, this is where things take off. You're going to take off with this new energy. You're going to escalate. You're going to do fantastic things. But if you rush that prior to the fire horse actually coming into play mid-February, you could still leave yourself stuck when you try to push it while you're still in the shedding phase of the snake. And do you think that a lot of that could have something to do with what you're mentioning? This is the first that I've heard. This is that it's a war horse. So
I've always viewed it as a war horse, because again, everything, even like, to the moon. People always say to the moon. That's usually the thought you get when you think of taking off to the moon. Sure. Even when you do that, there is a battle that has to be fought. There are preparations that have to be made for you to be able to move forward. You are advancing. When you say the word advance to me, I automatically, and maybe that is the psychic side of me, but I first thought in my head, you say advance, I think moving the line of battle forward.
Advance?
Because life is always a battle. And I say that all the time. Life is a battle. It is not, we are complicated beings. We are not easy, we're just not. I mean, we are very complicated. We have surrounded ourselves with a bunch of frequencies that are alien to our body. All this technology that we use, this is not healthy for your brain. I can tell you that. And here we are trying to fight through that, fight through life, fight through every single day. Shoot, when you get to be our age, Scotty, just getting your feet on the floor and getting out of bed is like, oh, dear God.
Well, some days, I just saw somebody put up a meme yesterday. It said, at 10 years old, I fell 8 feet to the ground off of the jungle gym at the park, got up and go, I'm fine. And he said, this morning, I tried to open up an orange juice can and I sprained I popped my left rib. I mean, and that's what it's like.
Yep.
At my age. So,
but I think that the moral of it is, and I mean, the Chinese were very wise. In fact, even I know they say that the astrology cards that most use for tarot comes from Egypt, but I've heard many times that it actually came out of China originally. And that kind of makes sense because the Chinese think in that type of numerical sequence. They're very logical in how they think. But again, they're not wrong. There's good and there's bad aspects to every sign. And you have to acknowledge both. If you're not prepared for both, you're not going to understand what's happening or why.
So what's the best way people can prepare for this fire horse? Is that actually energy that they can use to advance themselves?
Yes. And we're seeing that energy. We're seeing that energy already starting to build in the Schumann resonance. So you're already seeing a change in the energy of the Earth's frequency, which means that the people inhabiting the Earth, their frequency is changing. It's amping. It's becoming louder. So again, you can see that we're going to go through a change, that there's something coming. And Scotty, how long have I been saying it? Something is coming down the pipe, and it's big.
What do you think is coming?
I think a lot of lies are going to be unearthed. There's a lot of deception. A lot. And I think people have lived their lives in many ways through this deception. And it has hurt us as a race, as humanity. It has really hurt us badly. And
when you say that, deception being uncovered type of thing. Now we're talking, there's big lies out there, of course.
Yes.
Everything from disclosure stuff to governmental operations to which you're also involved in, all of that kind of talk. Can that filter all the way down to the minute, the individual stuff I experience, you experience, Steph experiences, or Angel experiences over there in the chat room?
It absolutely filters down. That's why they do what they do, to try to maintain it. Because when your perception at the top is not correct, because you've been given incorrect information, that siphons through everything. I mean, look at the way people react right now to things. Yes. They are literally, they're in such a high state of stress. Why is that? They can't discern the truth. That's why. They're understanding something is not right, something is not true, and this is on both sides. Okay, everybody is like in this high state of anxiety. Why? Because the snake skin is starting to shed. The veil is becoming very, very thin. People are starting to see through some of the lies. Now, granted, it depends on which lie you sunk your mouth around on the hook as to what's happening, but there's a lot of them, Scotty. It's, like I said to people, if you understood the depth of which the human race has been lied to and for how long, it's going to be catastrophic on some levels when a lot of this is revealed, because people base their whole life around this stuff.
Let me ask you something. I just saw this story today, and it's not a new story. I think it was when Trump was in his first term. There was, you remember, he formed the Space Force.
Correct.
And at this, right before he did that, there was the Israeli Minister of Defense or whatever he was for 30 years. And
Yep.
he came out and made his big thing in public that he says, we know there are aliens here. The Israeli government knows. The United States government knows. Donald Trump knows.
Mm-hmm.
And there is a galactic federation. And Trump was going to reveal it all. And they said they told him not to. And probably gave him good reason not to. And not long afterwards, he formed the Space Force. And which there's probably more to that than meets the eye.
Oh, yes.
So what do you think of this guy, this Israeli general? I can't think of his name off the top of my head, but he made this big reveal.
Okay, so there are two lines of thinking with this, and I'm standing with two on this one. A lot of people in the ufology field, and I'm deep into that field, very, very deep, know a lot of people in that field. A lot of them think this is finally disclosure, that, they're finally leading us out of the darkness of the lies for decades, and actually probably close to a century. And we're finally going to know the truth. And I am on the school of thought, nope. I have done conspiracy for 30 years now. I have studied conspiracy upside, downside, inside out. I have never backed down, and I research it to the utmost when I'm doing it. I can tell you what we're being set up. I said to somebody, we are literally being set up for a Blue Beam event. We are 1,000% being set up for it. If you read Serge Manass's Operation or Project Blue Beam, whichever one you want to go by, he literally warns you that they're going to pull an event. They're going to use holographic technology. They are going to basically act like they are the aliens so they can go to a one world order, not new world order, one world order.
So let me ask you, does a galactic federation exist, as this Israeli official said?
I think, they're using truth.
Think of that?
Well, here's the thing. Again, you've had a battle going on for the last at least 15 years. And I can tell you, because those of you who don't know, in my professional life, I actually do cybersecurity. I've got my bachelor's degree in cybersecurity, my minor in digital crime. I'm a certified ethical hacker and a certified industry professional, as well as an OSINT level 3. So I'm well certified in what I do. And one of the things I have done for many years before most of you ever heard of it was sit on the dark web. Why? Because there's a lot of information. There were a lot of people in politics. There were a lot of people in ghost hunting in the UFO fields who would drop information on the dark web, because if you put it on the regular internet, it would disappear. It would get swallowed into the hole and not even show up in the archives. It'd just be gone. So it was a safe place to drop information. And I can tell you, for years, we're talking back in Eisenhower's day. Dwight Eisenhower, it is long been rumored, and I actually know his granddaughter. So Laura Eisenhower.
I don't know her, but I know who she is.
Yep. And she'll tell you he met with what they say were aliens at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, and they struck a deal. I find legitimacy in that, because I also know that John F. Kennedy, one of the last things he was working on was something about aliens.
Interesting.
Yep. He also, of course, he had his spat with the banks, but he was working on stuff with aliens. I know Marilyn Monroe, who also kind of got poofed, was very much into aliens, and just very interesting when you start looking at the timelines. Do I believe there's a galactic federation? I believe there's something very close to that, maybe not with that name to it. Do I believe that they are misguiding people when they say that they're all hanging out above us? No, I think they've been here for like several thousand years. I do believe in the hollow earth, inner earth theories. I definitely, in fact, I can tie that to Greenland right now in such a way that blows people's minds.
This is what Nancy does, folks.
I did a show on that last week, because, I mean, if you go back and look at Admiral Byrd's first excursions, he was in Greenland in 1925, and that's where he supposedly found the hole to the center of the earth.
From a completely psychic perspective, I'm using that word lightly here, the perspective that we're talking to you about tonight, Trump's and the Trump administration's stance on Greenland, would that have anything to do? Would it tie in with any of that?
Yes, absolutely.
Because he apparently knows.
Yep. Well, why do you think he made Thule Air Force Base, which was an Air Force base for decades? In fact, Harry Truman built Thule Air Force Base right after Roswell happened. Okay. Thule literally means, look up what Thule means. Yeah. It actually means gateway, the end, basically gateway to another. Okay, so Thule Air Force Base, Trump, when in 2019, right before he left office, Trump made Thule Air Force Base the basic major station for Space Force. He moved Space Force into that base, moved the Air Force out, moved Space Force in. That should tell you something huge right there.
Yes.
And I've said to somebody, there's a void underneath that area, of a geological void that they've been talking about. You can find articles on it.
Where is Thule?
Thule is in the northwest side of Greenland. So it's up by the North Pole. Okay, the North Pole is a little bit out there. Actually, it's moving, but it's above that area. But Thule is probably the closest manned option to the North Pole, or polar north. And it's interesting because, like I said, they can't define what exactly is underneath. They can tell you that it's static and that it is like a huge system of caves and everything, but there's an object down there. Well, there's an object down there, and they're like, people theorize it's a spaceship. I think it's probably an ancient artifact that's down there.
Interesting.
So, and I think it works in conjunction with polar north with the magnetics.
There was another question I had along the lines of this. If all these world leaders know, and I'm assuming not, does every one of them know, or are they just choosing certain nations?
No, they all know.
Why Israel? Why the United States? Would it be like, and Denmark knows too, or the Congo? Is it just chosen leaders that are of countries that are viewed by alien presences as being those that make the world work? The Congo doesn't make the world work. So would the leader of the Congo get a visitation?
I think every government has a representation within their government that is aware. Not necessarily the leader of the government, but a representation. Like Independence Day probably viewed it the best. When the president's on the flight, plausible deniability. Yeah.
Yes.
But I think Donald Trump was made aware. I think Donald Trump sits on an absolute treasure trove, but you also have to remember who his uncle was. And I say that all the time. I think he knew before he got in office what was going on. His uncle was John Trump. And I mean, John Trump was what? He was the FBI agent who was in control of what? The Tesla files.
Yes.
So
I was going to say the connection to Nikola Tesla.
Correct. And Nikola Tesla believed he was from where? Venus.
Yep.
And then you got Elon Musk, another genius we can compare to Nikola Tesla, who says he's from where? Mars. So
here's another thing. I wanted to bring this up too. Dr. Stanton, the late Dr. Stanton Friedman.
Yep.
And I met him in the year 2000, and we had started talking over a particular thing that was going on. I knew somebody who had met somebody, had gone on a blind date with them, and this person took her out to a park near, she lived in Roswell, New Mexico, and took her out to a park and started saying, look up at the sky. And he says, and UFOs were appearing, the little lights. And he said, tell me what you want them to do. And she'd tell him, and they would move at his command. And she said his skin got really hot. Now, I knew this person very well. She was telling me this story. She was crying through it. She said, I'm terrified after doing this, but fascinated. And he told her about in the outskirts of Roswell, New Mexico. I'm sorry, Albuquerque. I keep saying Roswell because we're talking about UFOs. Albuquerque. Outside of Albuquerque, that there is a facility that is, and I would be making up numbers if I came up with the numbers, but something like 30 stories below ground.
Yep.
A facility. You know what I'm talking about.
I do.
He told her that there were something like 138 alien species that are already here, and movies like the comedy movie Men in Black, that facility that was handled comically in the movie, he was telling her, no, that's a real thing. And it was interesting because Stanton Friedman got into the picture, and I asked Stanton Friedman on behalf of this friend of mine, I asked him if he would look into this. And he actually interviewed that guy privately to ask him questions. And let's give him the name Robert. And this guy that went on the blind date and revealed all this stuff to my friend. And Stanton got back to me and he said, I got some answers for you, he said, but he says, I'm still as much baffled by this as you are. He says, first of all, I'm going to tell you something. He says, this guy knows things he shouldn't know, and that there's no way he could possibly know them, and that they are secret files, things that, I got the impression Stanton Friedman knew and others knew that because they had done the research and they had contacts and they were sworn to silence. And he says, he knows stuff. And Stanton said something to the effect of, very respected man, by the way. He wrote, I think he wrote the book, The Roswell Incident, and a couple of other books. But he said there is more truth to this facility he's talking about than you might want to know. And he said there's not a thing he said that really didn't smack as truth. He says, but I just didn't know how he knew what he knew. And he says, that's my verdict. He says, the jury's out a little bit on him, except he knew too much. And,
it's interesting because I can actually correlate a little bit to that, because when I dream prophetically, I told you my body heats up like a thermonuclear device. Like I get ridiculously hot, to the point where I had a boyfriend, you might remember Brian, years and years ago.
Yeah.
Literally, he was a firefighter, and he thought I was going to either die of a fever or spontaneously combust. And he said,
so I have to mark where this was said in the conversation so I can call it up later and I can put together a sound clip of Nancy Planeta says, I am incredibly hot.
Oh, yeah. Oh, God, don't do that. But, yeah, he said it looked like you could see physical waves of heat coming off of me. And that was what made me start looking into remote viewing. And, I always said I surf the grid. Yes. I surf the universal grid. To me, I can see it. It's like a webbing. I can't even explain it to people.
Does this tie into your psychic abilities?
Yes.
I mean, the things when you go, yes, Scotty, I see this. And I go, no way. And you go, yes way.
Actually, a lot of times with you, I hear it. I hear it because people are freaking talking and they won't stop. I'm not going to mention who it was, but literally, I'm very clairaudient.
You did for me, you heard voices.
Yes, I told you I could hear it. Like they were. I told you what he said to me. Tell Scotty this.
Yes.
Then he wouldn't stop.
I think it's safe to say who that is.
Yes. So, yeah, he would not stop. I was like, brother.
Yeah. Nancy, all I did was ask her one night a couple of weeks ago, and I said I had a really deep thing about Uncle Dave, that many of my radio listeners know him, Dave Potter, and John Ward, two of my closest confidants that both passed away. Dave 2 years ago, John a little
recently.
Over 2 years ago. John in 4 days before I was handed the divorce papers. John passed away, and I was feeling really heavy about it one day, and I was talking to Nancy. I said, do you have the ability to, and she didn't even let me finish my sentence. She goes, yes. And I go, well, I mean, John and Dave. She goes, yeah. And she goes, yes, I do. And she told me something about Dave, how he sticks around my son a lot, Samuel. And Sam called me the other day. He says his fiance, Octavia Tav, that they felt Dave's presence all day, just things that they could not explain, just feelings. And that was over the last weekend. But as far as John goes, I remember Sam walked in my house with Tav.
Yep.
As we were talking, and I said, I'll have to get back to you. Nancy writes me in the middle of the night, like 2:15 in the morning. And she said, oh my God, he won't let me sleep. And she's talking about John Ward. And she gave me all kind. He wants me. He's been badgering me all night. Nancy, woman, wake up. And I've got a message for Scotty. And she said, he made me write this down verbatim and corrected me. No, I didn't say that. Is it this way? And she writes down this message from John, and it was unbelievable. I sat and cried through the whole thing. She's reading it to me, and it was, or no, I read it first, and then I called her. I didn't call her at 2:30 in the morning. I didn't see her before. And so it was pretty astounding. And then I actually read that to Maria, John's wife, who is the chief archaeologist at their site, Gebel El Silsila in Egypt. And her take on it was, she was very quiet. She goes, well, she said, it's not all the words sound exactly like John. She said, but everything he said was messaging he had been giving you for a long time before he passed. And she said, that is very much a message from John, and confirmed by his wife. So,
yeah. He wouldn't stop, though. He would not stop. It was like a kid, like, Mom, yeah. Mom.
I could see him write it.
Oh, I told you, it was the worst experience ever.
Yeah.
Especially because I'm a writer myself. So it's like, right. Okay, wait, let me go back. Hold on.
I can't read the whole thing to you guys, but there's a little section of that I want you to hear. Let's see. He says here, I should have done
breath.
This.
No, just take a deep breath. You're amongst friends.
This is toward the end. He says, he's talking to me, and he says, you're being stripped back to the essentials now. Pain does that. It removes illusions, people, and narratives that no longer serve truth. What remains is the part of you that always mattered, the seeker who listens, the man who asks better questions than most. Do not confuse suffering with punishment, as we both know you have done. This is refinement, not erasure. Lean on the work. Lean on the stories. Lean on those who see you, not for what you provide, but for who you are when there is nothing left to give. You are not finished, brother. You are not diminished. You are not alone. And if you ever doubt that, remember this. The deepest truths are almost always found after something breaks. And that's where it ends. Holy shit.
Oh, I'm sorry, Scotty.
Like, no. I'm going to be sorry. I just invited myself into that. Nancy said right after that, I hope that helps. Dear God, that man can talk.
He's got that accent, and I gotta tell you,
brother.
the only thing I could compare to that was when I go down to do investigations in like the Cuban district in Tampa, and everybody's speaking in Spanish. And it's like,
Sure.
stop, slow down. I speak it, but you gotta slow down. But like I said, that's part of being clairaudient, and that's that again, that's a gift you have to be super careful with, because you could be walking through a crowd and hear a voice, and it's not anybody around you.
Right.
And then you have to discern, okay, who is it and why? Why are you suddenly breaking through? Because I shield myself really well, because I don't like being disturbed.
Yes.
It's not something I put out there, and that's for a reason. It's because, I am a firm believer that I'm here to help people. I'm not here to make profit off what I do. I think when you profit off of it, you destroy it.
Right.
Because now you're being paid to come up with an answer or to come up. No, what I do, it's very free flowing. It happens. And no, I'm not schizophrenic.
Right.
To answer that question, no, it's not like you.
Right.
There's oh, come on now. We've all had large arguments with ourselves in the kitchen, but yes, it's something where, and it's weird because every time it happens, I get this weird pop, like this weird, like frequency pop, almost like a radio pop. It's weird, but I always know because that happens. And, then I know, okay, that's something that it's not within the crowd.
That's funny. I'm going to have to watch for this, but maybe it's because I was outside the program, but when you were outside the program window and I was grabbing something in a different window, and when you came in, it popped. And I've never heard it do that when anybody's called in before. Then you came in the second time and it popped again. I thought, never heard it do that. Maybe
that's because I'm bringing the whole damn crowd with me.
Right?
But it's
Hawk, you should call in and ask this question personally. I was going to make a rule tonight, and I actually neglected to do it. If you have a question of Nancy, call in and ask it. So, Hawk, if you can, call in. If you can't, that's all right. But there's the question.
I see the question.
Maybe he'll want to talk to you about that a little bit.
Ability.
So, what are the means or a way to know if you have an ability? And if so, what are the signs or symptoms of it?
Well, again, that's something. I think everybody has abilities. It's just your life is so chaotic a lot of times. You're not zeroing in. You don't slow down. You don't recognize different things. I think everybody has had some experience with deja vu, or what they call deja vu. Deja vu is like, it's the echo of the ability. It's basically your consciousness telling you, hey, pay attention, pay attention, pay attention. Even your dreams. I hate it when I listen to or I read scientific reports saying that dreams are basically your subconscious trash. No.
Yeah.
It's not your subconscious trash. 99% of your dreams are what we call metaphorical. So in other words, it is a dreamscape is something where, like, you could see a lion in your dream. And depending on what you define a lion as is what that lion might represent. Some people see a lion as a royal, it's something that represents royalty, because there's a lot of seals that have the lion on it, and it is the king of the jungle. So they automatically equivalent it with royalty. Okay, well, that could be something in your past where you dealt with something that made you feel really special, very elevated. So again, most of your dreams are metaphorical. They're experiences or things to come that you are subconsciously putting together, and your abilities within you are saying, okay, it's like, I always say it's almost a form of fight or flight, where you're being shown because your energy is picking something up and it's translating it. It's putting it into your dream world where you are at your most vulnerable in many ways. You are sleeping. And when you're in REM, you're as close to death as you're going to get before you die. So you're in that world where you're just floating. I think once you recognize that, you can control it. That's why I've always said I'm a lucid dreamer. I can't control what I'm being shown in the dream, but I can control if I decide to exit the dream. I can control that.
A woman that you know very, very well, and that knows you, very close to me, mentioned a dream that she had where she was being pursued by what she thought was a grizzly bear. And she kept running past, and it was larger than life. It was huge, enormous. And she kept passing people calling, can you help me? And they wouldn't come and help. No. And that's not a grizzly, that's a black bear. Everybody kept correcting her. It's a black bear. And she kept running from it. People would see it. It didn't pursue anybody else except her. It kept looming bigger and bigger. Not closer, just bigger. And everything she tried, she threw things at it, impervious, shot it. Somebody handed her a gun. Wasn't going to help. No, here you go, but here's a gun. And she shot at it, and it did not affect it. She finally made it to a relative's cabin and used the code to get in, and barely made it in, and the bear was right there. Slammed the door, but the bear stopped the door from slamming shut and was trying to break through, and then she shot it in the eye, and it didn't kill it. It kept advancing, and then she woke up. And there are very strict, you know who this is, and you know who I'm talking about. There are very strict dream interpretations, like by the book. What's a black bear mean? What's a this and that? And what's your take on now, I'm putting you on the spot, but your take on that dream, perhaps because you know the person, it might help. But to see a dream like that, that's not your brain just processing something.
No.
That's a message dream.
In some ways it's a denial dream. Okay, so what I find most interesting is that everybody around her is saying that's a black bear, not a grizzly bear. To me, as an interpreter, I'm saying, okay, well, that means that you're seeing something, a situation, and you're amplifying it or exploding it unreasonably to the point where it's terrifying, but it's not. That's her doing that. That's what that dream is trying to say. Why everybody else seeing it as black bear and she sees it as a grizzly, which, difference being the grizzly will destroy you in 2 seconds flat, where a black bear is not, it's dangerous, but not quite as, actually nowhere near as dangerous as a grizzly. Right. So, that's the first thing I go for. As soon as you said that, other people saw it. They said it's just a black bear. In other words, almost trying to say, "Hey, wake up!
Calm down.
Yeah, calm down. You're really overdoing this. Maybe if you just stop and stand still, you'll be fine. Just quit it." But she's making her own situation worse. She keeps trying to shoot it down rather than basically stop, take a breath, and confront it. Maybe that's what she needs to do if she has the dream again. Confront the bear. The bear is most likely something she allowed to build in the past that got out of control. It's out of control. That's why she sees it as a grizzly, because it's in her world, it is out of control.
And that actually ties in with the stuff I talked about in the log tonight, is that we create scenarios or stories to fulfill a need. As the log said in the poem I wrote, we create monsters to facilitate feeling easy about an escape or doing something that we want to do, as opposed to them being real scenarios. And then we convince ourselves that they're real. And then the bear, the black bear, being blown up to the grizzly, is that metaphoric, you've created this out of almost nothing. And now it's coming back on you.
It's interesting too, though, because I'd love to ask this person, when they think of a bear, what is their first feeling? That's like when I do the dream analysis classes, that's my first question to people. What do you feel when you think of this animal normally, not in the dream context? in general, what is your feeling? Because to me, I think of a bear, and I told you that I always assimilate people to animals in many ways. I always think of a very large, comforting presence that can be gentle or brutal, depending on the conditions. Okay. So depending on how she sees the bear, that could be
gentle bear, the black bear, converted into a grizzly, a deadly bear.
Correct.
Interesting.
Correct. I mean, and again, that's also a fear. And that shows me there's something that's terrifying her, that's ahead of her, not behind her, ahead of her. Why? Because she couldn't kill the bear. It's still there. So it's,
something that would do her harm or do her narrative harm.
Well, she's doing the harm to herself because she's not confronting the issue. Right. Whatever the bear is, that is the issue she needs to confront, and she's not doing it. And, you know, like running back to the family. Okay, well, how's that going to help you? If it's a grizzly bear, there's no keeping a grizzly bear out. We all know that. That's general information, but that's how it ties into her dream. And, like I said, she just needs to calm down. Yeah. And I think that would be the best advice. Just, calm down, embrace what you've got around you. Stop worrying about what you're missing or what you need to replace. Calm down, because nothing's going to get better unless you do that.
Right. And calming down sometimes just simply means dealing in truth and honesty with yourself to process.
Oh, I'm actually reading Hawk. Hold on one second. Hold on.
Yeah, I just put that up. I was going to ask that. I'll read it for the audience. Sometimes an instant impression appears, a sudden flash, tied to a situation, a friend, or a family member. It might be an image, a feeling, or a sense of an event. The question is whether those impressions deserve our attention or skepticism.
They deserve both. Even me, I've done this for years, and Scotty will tell you 99% of the time I will preface something with, I'm not sure if I'm right. But there's other things where I'll say, Scotty, I know this for a fact. I can't tell you why, but I can tell you I know 100% this is what's coming.
Yeah.
When you never ever disregard something like that, a flash, an instinct, an impulse, a feeling. I don't ever disregard things like that. Why? Because you don't have them unless something is setting off a trigger. And again, I can put a lot of this down to science. And I say that to people all the time. We are a bioelectric being, okay? We are surrounded by an electromagnetic field that we generate, okay? It comes from within. When something gets into that field, it causes an erratic feeling. In other words, an erratic behavior. And it can translate to a thought, a feeling, a shot. And like I said, sometimes with me, glances of what's coming, glances of what have been, glances of things that are no longer with us that I can't even qualify. People say, do you think you talk to ghosts? I don't qualify what a ghost is. I couldn't tell you what a ghost is. I can tell you there are thermodynamic laws which support the fact that if we are a being that carries an electrical field, that electrical field can't die when we do. Okay? Because energy can neither be created nor destroyed. It can only do what? It can only conduct or change. That is the law of thermodynamics. And I hold that steady all the time because I'm like, yeah, we are a being of energy. We're basically trapped in a shell. But it's still, the energy is there. So when something comes into your field and causes a flux, yeah, you pay attention to it. And if it's nothing, good, that's fine. You paid attention to it, now you can disregard it. But 99% of the time, there's something to it that's going to affect you somewhere down the line. So
Hawk is a further question for clarification. When a sudden feeling, flash, or perception arises, is it better to talk about it with the person it concerns or to keep it to yourself?
Depends on the situation. I can tell you that I do not 99.9% of the time, I do not tell people if I get flashes of something that's coming. I do not. Why? Because it is not for me to make fate. It never has been for me to make fate. I can tell you also, though, if I get something that might hurt somebody, I won't ever tell them I saw this, but I will try to instruct them to do different things. Like I'll make suggestions like, oh, instead of taking this road to work, why don't you take this road? I heard there was an accident on that road. I will try to kind of realign things without directly informing the person something's coming. Why? Because I don't want to inadvertently cause the event by putting the thought in their head.
Sure.
I've had to learn over years and years and years and years. I've had to learn how to do that. Like with my husband, because again, people say I'm telepathic. If I get very close to somebody, I can like hear their thoughts. Scotty can tell you that I can hear his thoughts sometimes.
Yeah.
But like my husband will tell you my favorite words to him when we're in the house together are, shut up, you're thinking too loud. Stop.
Nice.
Stop it. No, we're not doing that. Stop. So
Can I put you on? I would like your permission to put you on the spot for a minute.
Yeah.
It's about me.
Mhm.
I don't care what comes to mind. I want it's a demonstration. If you can tap, I know you can tap in just without even thinking about it. How do I want to word this?
Carefully.
Carefully. Give me something about me that I need to know. I don't care who hears it. You don't have to name names if you don't need to. But sometimes hard to avoid types. What pops in your mind if I ask you right now, give me something I need to know right now that you see?
You're trying too hard.
Okay.
Okay, right down to shaving your head. You're trying too hard to change. You're trying to step out of the old you and become the new you. That you don't need to do physical things to do that, Scotty. It's happening naturally. Stop trying so hard because you're pushing yourself. Don't do that. Let things occur organically. That is the best advice I can give you. And you know that. We've had that talk before, but
Sure.
I'm going to repeat it to you because I can see the pain in you already. I can feel the pain in you. It's palpable. And it's not as bad as it was, I will tell you that. But it's there. You have a loneliness. Stop. There's so much love that surrounds you, and you are aware of it, I think. I think you know, but you're terrified to tap into it. Tap into it. I mean, John was very direct in what he said. Why? Because John is worried about you. Okay? And I think I'm 100% sure he was very happy that you reached out to Maria, because I think Maria can help you too. Maria has been through quite a bit, and in many ways what you suffered, and okay, take this the way you want, but you know me, I love you.
Yeah.
You are basically in mourning. Okay? And I can feel it coming out of you 1,000,000%. When you do some of the captain's dialogues, it's like I'm hearing a mourning cry. I can actually hear it in my head when I listen to you doing your captain's log sometimes. And I do listen, by the way, because I worry about you. And I hear the agony coming out of you, like you somehow think that if you do that, that's going to get rid of it all. It doesn't. It does help because you're talking about it. But in the same respect, you're continuing to relive it. You're continuing to relive it. You have to move on. And like I said, that doesn't mean changing how you look, Scotty, because you're fine just the way you are.
I didn't do this for that. I was going to do this 3 and 4 years ago.
When you did it, it's like it's like women. When women are done with something, I always laugh because women laugh at me like, oh my God, that's so true. When women are done with something emotionally, one of the first things they do is they go out and buy themselves like new clothes, new underwear. It's the craziest thing, but we do. It's like we got to clean everything out, start all over again. you're kind of doing that, but you're still hanging on to the mental aspects of it. But again, this has only been 6 months, and this was 20 years versus 6 months.
Yeah.
And you're trying like hell to work through it. You lost your best friend. You lost everything in a very short period of time. But I feel like you think you're alone. Like you think everybody says we're here for you, but they're not. No, Scotty, they're there for you. You got to stop, come out of that. You're not depression, but it is depression, but it's not that way. Come out of the spilled milk. Start eating the cereal again. That's the best way I can put it.
Interesting. Okay.
I'm sorry. I love you to death. You know that, but I'm not.
Sorry for
I'm not gonna. I was gonna say I'm not gonna hold punches on you. I care about you too much to do that.
And I don't take it that way. I asked for that, and I wasn't sure where you were going to go with that. So
to me, you have spent many, many years like pushing every ounce of who you are into what you thought was love. And it wasn't. It was for you, but it wasn't on the other end. And nothing against Rainey. Okay, Rainey is who Rainey is. But you put everything into it, and it's like you don't know how to recover now. And that's the chaos in your head, Scotty. When we talk, I want to just hug you, but I'm afraid if I hug you, you're going to crush me because it's that strong. It's that strong. And I mean, I think that's why John hopped on and woke me up in the middle of the night. And I think, Dave, again, he keeps very, very close to Sam, because Sam needs him, because Dad's having a hard time. But you need to like that. And that's the other thing I wanted to say to you. You need to like really, really like trust Sam. You need to. He needs that. You need that. And I think that's kind of why Dave is staying with Sam. It's like John's got you, Dave's got Sam.
Sam is very almost hostile.
I know.
And that changed in recent months. And there's times I have to tell him, Sam, you got to calm down. Got to calm down, son. I hear you, but you got to calm it down. And
that's years of repressed emotion, Scotty.
Yeah.
Decades of it. I mean, he went through his growth cycle repressing what he thought and how he felt to try to make life easier for you. And that's what that was. And I guarantee if you were to ask Sam, he would say, Dad, it's because I didn't want to make things more difficult for you. And he fought it. I love that kid. You know that. I've told you that. I respect the hell out of that kid. And I respect the hell out of your daughters.
Yeah.
And I think your other kids are wonderful kids. I think it's a screwball situation. That's not what I was going to say it. Yeah. I'm trying to be careful with my words. But I mean, yeah, it's a cluster. And I think the kids are caught up in that battle, and you don't want that, Scotty. You got to get your shit straight because your kids need you.
Yeah.
Okay. They do, Scotty. I know you feel like you need that relationship. You do not. You're better without it. You've always been a source of strength to everybody. Be one to yourself. Be one to yourself, because you are so much greater than you've been getting credit for here. And again, nothing against Rainey. It's not easy being and she was a young mother. That is not easy. That's not easy. And, she's got issues now with the kids and everything else. You've got to let her go. And you haven't. I love you, brother. I do. And I know you talk good game, but you haven't. You have to. You have to. For your sake, for the kid's sake, you got to let her go. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. I wish I didn't have to say it. I wish I could say, tomorrow you're going to be back together. You guys will be fine. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. You know that. I've told you this.
Right.
It's
You
not.
made other predictions too, and I'm not going to share them here.
Nope.
But you also gave me warnings about them.
Yep.
So.
Yep. And like I said, it destroys me to see you, how you're feeling. Even right now, the look on your face, you look like a puppy that just got kicked. And that makes me feel horrible. I don't like making you feel that way. But I know if I don't say it, not too many other people will. I mean,
it's just that in a bad way at all.
Yeah, I would never, I would never cause you pain intentionally. But if I don't say it, I'm causing you more pain. Yeah. Because you're going to continue to obsess on it. And that's kind of what this is at this point. It's like you don't know what you did wrong. And I do blame Rainey for that, because I think Rainey deflects what was really wrong in the relationship and won't have a serious discussion about it with you. But because of that, you obsess on what you did wrong and can you fix it? Stop. You don't need to fix yourself, Scotty.
I will be honest and say, from the first time you and I talked, I have changed a lot of my stance on that, in that I have really separated myself out from that. I don't ask what did I do wrong, because I don't believe I did anything wrong. Now, let me qualify that. I'm not saying I never acted wrongly. I never did bad things or never made mistakes. I'm saying I did not do any of the things I was accused of. And I was told I was a narcissist, a gaslighter, and emotionally abusive. And that those were the reasons that she was leaving me. That at first, when that first hit me, it was like, I'm what? What have I done? I would ask. And I could never get an answer. Couple of arguments were brought up and things like that. And because of things you said to me and my friend Hawk, who's sitting over here, conversations I've had with you guys, and the examining things, I really come to see that it was like the captain's log tonight, creating a monster in order to justify a flight that's for a totally different reason.
Correct.
And the reason wasn't, just to clarify, the reason wasn't that there was somebody else. The reason was needing to, and being prompted by people around her, people close to her, her echo chamber out there. You need to go, girl, and get your independence. You don't need no man. You can do what you want. You need to establish who you are. And all this is really done for her. And I run the risk of her listening to this. I doubt she's gonna, but I think it has brought more confusion to her than anything else.
Chaos.
Chaos.
But it's chaos that it's always been there, Scotty. I told you that for years. Yeah. I've told you that. And again, nothing against Rainey, because I like Rainey. I personally, I like Rainey. I feel for Rainey in many ways, because again, I was a single mom, so I raised 2 kids by myself, and that is not an easy thing. And I know you were gone a lot. You traveled a lot, but
I gotta say, it wasn't that much.
No, but to a young mother, it is. And I say that from a woman's perspective. To a young mother, especially she was pregnant during one of those times, that was horrible. But in your defense, you were bringing home the bacon. You had no idea, because she didn't tell you, or she didn't tell you correctly. In other words, instead of telling you what was really wrong, she came at you like pretty much with emotional and verbal knives, instead of actually sitting down like 2 mature people and having a discussion as to what was really wrong. And that just kept snowballing for years. and years. And here's Scotty, woo-doo-doo-doo-doo, like most men, just not thinking about it. And that's all she's doing is obsessing on it. Why? Because she's the one at home. She's the one with the kids. She's the one that's doing the mom thing. And that was not the job she signed up for in her head. I told you about that. I don't have to go into that in detail. But that was not the job she signed up for when she married you.
Right.
So,
right. It was something to, and I don't believe I ever subjugated her in any way, any kind. I felt like I always supported her in what she did. So I feel like I'm defending myself. I don't need to do that.
Did she take that as patronizing? Because I think she did with her personality.
Like,
oh no, I think she took it as patronizing, Scotty.
All the businesses she wanted to start, I was there helping her start them all.
No. What I'm saying though is that she never felt. She doesn't have the same dynamics that you do. You're two different individuals.
Yeah.
That would be like saying that Ralphie and I were the same when we talk to crowds or when we speak to people, that we have the same approach. We do not even close. Right. You are dynamic. You are a tenured speaker publicly. You have incredible articulation skills. You have people draw to you because of the way you articulate. You're intelligent, and that shows through in conversation and in writing. Rainey is very intelligent, and I've told you that from the get-go. She's a very smart young woman, but she does not have the that you have. She does to certain groups, but not in large like you do. So to her, when you help her with a business, I think she always feels like she's getting scraps. That's kind of what I guarantee that's what she felt, as a matter of fact. And again, that's just basing it off what happened recently and some of the things that have been fired, loaded up into a musket and shot into your face.
Right.
That's a lot of anger. That's a lot of frustration. It's a lot of immaturity. It's a lot of things balled up, and honest to God, it is fear. She's terrified. Can't blame her.
Of me?
No, she's terrified of everything. Everything. Yeah. Because now, Scotty, look what's happened as a result. Okay, you are now in your own place. You got your bachelor pad. You're literally starting to do things that you've dreamt of doing for decades. For decades. Literally, Scotty. I mean, you are, instead of imagining your life based on a group unit, you're finally saying, I can do the group unit, but I can do me too. I wish this had happened years ago.
I had my 3 older kids. I was a sole custodial dad. So.
Yep. That's what I mean, though. But that's the other thing, too. There's a lot of pain there. And I think you wear that because you feel like you should have done more, could have done more, discussion should have been had. But again, that's why I said shed the skin.
Yeah.
Let it go, Scotty. Let it go. And we had somebody join us, and I feel rude now because here I am talking away.
This is Wendy Robertson from London, England, and she and I have done a show for a long time that we took about 1.5 years off. Robertson. And we're going to be reviving that very soon. Wendy, welcome. It's what time is it there? It's 4 a.m.
5 hours, yeah. She's up early.
Hello, sweetie. Yes, it's about 20 to 5 here.
20 to 5.
Oh, God, you sound like Princess Di.
Well, that's a compliment. Thank you very much.
I am telling you, I love the accent. It just puts me right at ease. I love that. Oh, I like her energy.
I'm not normally awake at this time, but I've had a bit of a rough night, and I saw Scotty was on, and I was listening to what you were saying, and I do like your name because one of my nicknames my brother used to call me was Vixen, and but I was listening to what you were saying, and I have to say I agree with so much that you've said. Not all of it, but most of it, because I've known this man a very, very long time, and
I've known Wendy.
Some of it
I've known you, Nancy.
Yeah, it's hard, Scotty, because I know she's probably wanting to say a lot of this to you too, because it's painful.
She has. We talk an awful lot, and I will say that Wendy knows me really well.
I like her energy. I like your energy, Wendy. I do like your energy.
Thank you.
Oh,
That's very sweet of you to say. I'm glad you do, especially at 20 to 5 in the morning. It's
And
nice.
I have to say, Wendy, I didn't come on here. We were talking about Nancy and her. Well, if you were listening to some of the show, you know where we were going with all that. And I was just going to put her to the, not that I need the test, but I was going to put her to the public demonstration. Hey, tell me something about me that you know. I said, don't hold any punches. Go ahead and say something. Well, that's where that.
I mean, the thing is, she's a fellow clairvoyant. I'm a clairvoyant too, and you know, I do readings, and that, you know, I've done them for years. And although my faith has been wobbly over the last couple of years, but a lot of things you were saying are, oh, there's so much more. Believe me, there's so much more I could say, but I don't, and I won't. But you're very perceptive on what's going on. That's for sure.
I just wish because Scotty is very sensitive himself, and he knows that. I've
He
told him
is.
this for years, and I wish it's like heal thyself, you know. Scotty, if this was me, you would be able to read into me and say, okay, stop, don't do this, don't do that, you know, calm down. And you and come on, I've come to you when I've had emotional issues, and you've said, okay, breathe, take a step back, you know.
That sounds familiar.
And
he's so good.
Wendy,
Scotty has got a voice like honey. You
yes,
can listen to his voice, and it's so calming. And over the years decades that I've known him, I have spoken to him about all kinds of things, and his voice is just, it's okay, and you'll get through this, and he's grounding. And I have watched, I won't go into too much detail, but I have watched this. I said to him last night, I honestly was waiting for the day that I turned on Facebook and found you were dead. Because if you had carried on in the life and the energy that you were in, you wouldn't be sitting here talking to me here now. And sometimes I actually think that would have been profitable and better for some people. But the
yep.
fact that this man has got a purpose, and he has, although he doesn't know what it is right now, like I don't in some ways, he will get there because he's meant to. He's meant to get there. And I think that we waste so much time with the wrong people trying to make it work when actually we know it's not going to work, but we don't want to take. I've done it. We've all done it. And now he's been given a fresh start.
I think it's stubbornness. It's human stubbornness. You don't want to walk away from something you invested so much into.
Well, that's some of it. I think I was just going to say, it's not stubbornness. It was the surprise that somebody that you have been building with for over 2 decades suddenly.
Oh, Scotty, I gotta stop you. Yeah. I love you, brother, but I gotta stop you. She left you while you were going through your surgery. She went to Alaska. Scotty!
Well, I told her.
I also have to jump in there and also actually have to say, with all due respect, the lady in question checked out many years ago.
Yes.
She checked out many years ago. She has not wanted this situation for many years. And all of us that have watched Scotty's programs have watched the love that he has showed this lady. And I say that with respect for Scotty, not for anyone else. The fact that we all watched her contempt and very little affection and feeling for the man. And we've all sat here quietly with our mouth shut out of respect for Scotty. But now it's come to the point where it's like, I'm not liked anyway. I've never been liked, but I'm not liked because the fact is that I call a spade as a spade, and I don't have an agenda. I just call it as it is. And this man, I'm just glad that he made it out. And I said to him, I asked him a question, and I'm going to say this because people will probably understand where I'm coming from. Would you rather have your ex back, or would you rather have your leg back? Because one of them is far more fucking supportive than the other one ever will be.
Yeah. Yep. Right on the target.
And I'm
Right.
sorry, but like you, Ricken, I have to say that I almost want to come over there and put him out in the snow and roll him around and say, oh my God, for fuck's sake. Like,
Well,
seriously.
I would say let's do that on the bare rug instead of the
Either works,
already cold
baby.
enough.
Either works.
But it's like Scotty,
I
it's hard because again, she's coming at it from the perspective of somebody who's watched for years. I come at it as a friend that's watching. You're like a brother to me. You know that. You, Rocky, John. Come on, we go years and years and years and years back. And I mean, it's like, God, I'm so glad you have her in your life. Because again, she's gonna call it. Yes, because she's gonna call it the way it needs to be called. Yeah, and you need that. That's the support you need right now. And doesn't mean that you're not loved. You're loved more than you could ever know, because to tell somebody what's true is literally the greatest act of love that can happen. And that's why I tell you, I don't ever skip a beat. I'm going to shoot straight from the holster. Scotty, in fact, I tell Scotty a lot of times, Scotty, just cringe now because here it comes. And I'm not going to pretty it up.
I have to say something here, not in defense of Rainey, but we say these things and we talk about them. We're trying to talk about them matter-of-factly, not to demean somebody or belittle them behind their back when they're not here to defend themselves.
Right.
Certainly not belittling. I wouldn't say that's the word we're using, is belittling. And I know you're having to be so careful with what you say and do. I mean, Ricken, you don't know me, and you obviously know Scotty very well, and you gave a demonstration. If you pick up my energy, what do you pick up from me?
Oh, I like you. I like you a lot, because you are one that I would call you a shadow, because you are one that can really read into people very well, and you utilize that to your advantage, but not in a bad way. In many ways, it's for self-defense. God, I'd call you a witch if I didn't, because I know I'm one. But
hello, sister.
Yeah, there you go. Because again, you just you're like a thunderstorm. And I usually equivalent that to a male energy, which is interesting because I can feel you. Like, you are strong as hell. You know it. And yeah, you're telling me you're tired, but your energy is not tired. Your energy is never tired. Your energy doesn't really sleep very much. And you're a deep thinker. You are somebody you were quiet when you were younger. You were not what you are now. And
That's right.
You kind of morphed into who you are out of necessity. But you did it in a very intelligent way, which I respect the hell out of, because that's how I am. I'm very careful with how I do things and who I trust with different things and how things work. And I think you are the lady Scotty had mentioned to me, and I had told him, oh, this is a good thing. And for those listening, y'all have to understand, Scotty and I have known each other probably 25 years now, easily. And it has never been a sexual thing between us, ever. It's always been like this crazy brother-sister type thing.
Let's amend that record.
It's true.
As a guy, I didn't think about it. It's not something I ever pursued with her.
No, I've been married now for 15 years. And I'm very much in love, but Scotty is somebody, he's like a brother to me. And I've always been very, very protective over him, because Scotty is such a good-natured person in many ways. I can't tell you how many things he got himself embroiled to trying to help people and got completely screwed. Totally screwed. And I'd be like, oh, Scotty. But I think Wendy, oh Lord, now I'm going Peter Pan in my head. That's got to stop. Wendy, oh, you are a prophetic dreamer too. Oh, that's fun. She is your Wendy in Peter Pan. Wow. That's why I went Peter Pan in my head. She's the safety. And she's not going to lead you wrong, man. She is not going to do that. She's not. She's a protector. definitely a protector. Wow.
Mm.
Definitely a protector. Doesn't see herself that way sometimes, but wow, you really are. Like she's somebody you would want to be under their protection because she would never let harm come to you. Put it that way. Doesn't mean she's perfect. She's got a temper just like everybody else. So do I. So
Sure.
what? That makes us all human. But she does think through her
it's hard
temper.
to find somebody that matches my perfection. So
No, she's on a different level. I
yeah,
don't know how to put that.
Anyway.
No, I don't know how to put
It's
that.
very interesting listening to you because you're right. I mean, I trained as a therapist, a counsellor many years ago, and then I'm a clairvoyant like yourself. But I never was like this when I was younger, and I've become tougher because I've had to be. And I am a fighter now. I mean, I'll go down fighting, and I'll take people. I will protect those that I love 100%. If I was in America, none of this would be going on as bad as it's been because I would be there. But I'm not. I'm in the UK for now, and that's just how it is. But, you know, there will be a time that I do come across to American shores, and then it will, you know, things may be very different.
God, it's so funny when I picture you because I'm looking at your picture on the thing, but I don't picture you like that. I picture you with like this is funny, like an admiral's hat, like in a seafaring uniform, sailing across. That's how I see you right now, and I told you, people give very interesting energy signatures, and it's very seldom. Scotty will tell you that it's seldom when I say, "Oh man, you're strong." Because yeah, like you really are, and I think you question yourself a lot of times as to the strength of your energy. You shouldn't. Just go with it. Freaking that's what I do. I just surf it because when I question it, I get headaches. I don't feel well, and I found that it's just the resistance sucks. Just let it happen. You know,
I think you question it when you don't know where you're going, and you're looking for that. Like you're on a roundabout, and as I was saying this to Scotty, and you're like, "Where the fuck is the entrance? Where is the exit? Where is it? Where,
am I up or down?" And the worst part is we can't help ourselves, and people don't understand that when you are gifted, it works pretty much with everything and everybody, including animals. Like animals, that's my big thing. Everybody calls me Dr. Doolittle. But you can't really help yourself. You can't, because your emotion, you're now personally vested when it is you. And it makes it very difficult. You know the answers. That's the worst part. You sit there and you know the answer, but you also fight the answer because you're human. So it's really easy for us to help other people. And you are like me in that way. You guide people without them really kind of knowing they're being guided. Oh, that's interesting. Yep, that's the way I do it too, because I don't want people to feel like I'm trying to tell them how to live their lives.
But don't you suffer for it? Let's be honest.
Yes.
I mean, like I find that as a clairvoyant and an empath, we are very much people suck your energy dry, and or they will use and abuse you, and when they've got what they wanted from you, they then move on. And that has happened so many times. And I also think we do question ourselves because you have to actually stay grounded and to actually find your purpose. You do have to question yourself.
And it's funny because I don't think people understand either. I know we have Hawk who's asking a lot of questions about how to open up the gift, how to utilize the gift.
I'm going to divert us to that. He asked, does the light hold the secrets to psychic abilities alone, or does darkness have its own abilities as well?
There's light and dark in everybody. It's a balance. The balance is where the secrets are. That's what people don't understand, because light and dark are perception. The balance. You have to be within the balance. If you do not know good, you cannot recognize evil, and vice versa. You have got to be, and you have to admit things within yourself. Like I can tell you when I screw up, I'll be like, oh, damn, crap. You have to own what you are and what you do. And that doesn't mean you make excuses for it. You just say, I screwed up. I was a little bit too much of a knee-jerk reaction. My mistake. I'm sorry. That goes a long way.
listening, because all of us are made up of energy, all of us, and
Yep.
all of us have psychic ability, whether we choose to use it or not. And it's like, I was 7 when I first started to hear spirit, and I honestly had no idea what was going on. And I think I went through all the channels of the medical profession until they actually discovered that it wasn't anything medical, it was something completely different. And I think you're drawn to it. And for me, I had to, I sat in circle, I developed, I learned how to open and close it down. But the one thing always listen to, and I say this to people, always listen to your gut instinct, because it's never wrong.
Yep.
Your head and your heart will argue, but your gut instinct is never wrong. And I think we do listen to our gut, but we don't want to hear it. And if you have psychic abilities, it's not being a clairvoyant, being an empath isn't an easy life. In fact, it's a very painful life. We
Yep.
have one of the most difficult lives because we're so sensitive. I mean, I started off as a clairaudient, and then they shut me down and they reopened me as a clairsentient. And as a clairsentient, you're sensitive. You walk in a room, you're like a sponge. You feel everything. And I can read energy from across the ocean like you. I can smell it. I can taste it. I can tell when someone's bullshitting me a miles away. And even though
Yeah.
I don't want to hear it and I don't want to listen to it, I'm like, yeah, that's bullshit. And you don't want to listen to it. So I would say that it's about tapping into your true self. What am I hearing from myself? And then learning from your guides and helpers too.
Can I ask you a question? Because you're a therapist, or
Yeah,
that was your,
I did.
because
I was, yeah.
I was going to say, because my career is in computers, and I always say
Hmm.
that because I think in binary, I think in patterns. With you, did anybody ever like accuse you of being like ADHD? Because, and I say this, I do this all the time. I do this all the time because, yeah, you do sense when people are bullshitting you, and you shut it down. Like you stop listening almost, like you shut it down, and you're in this alternate like universe almost, like thinking about a million other things, and they're still going, and yet you can hear them, but you've like shut them down. Did you do that as a therapist? Because I gotta know. I just asking out of curiosity because, oh my
I
God, I
think
can't imagine.
absolutely. I mean, when you've got someone in a counseling department or a room and you're listening to them, you are. I used to hear voices in my ear saying, "That's bullshit." What they're saying to you, and they would tell me something else about them, and I'd be like, I can't use that. And that's why I gave up counseling and went full time into clairvoyance, because I couldn't. And now I use the counseling in my clairvoyant work. But I tell you, most of the time, people as a clairvoyant, they want to come to you about their love life and tell
Yeah.
me about my partner and tell me what's this and are we going to get back together? And I say to them, we have about a few inches of free will. Our life is pretty much mapped out and is destined, and everything comes along at the time it's meant to, and it's all about timing. And in the spirit world, there is no time. There is no time whatsoever. What is 10 years down here is 10 minutes, not even that up there. And it's also about it's like Scotty, I said to him, you have the ability. That's why you went into the tarot, and that's why you looked into the
Yep.
paranormal side of things. That's why you were drawn to it. And I think that if you are interested in it from a sign, Mark, my friend, he's going to be on Wicked Women next week, and he's going to talk about his sense of the paranormal and the spirit world and how they're two very different things. The paranormal is very, very different to clairvoyance,
Yep.
incredibly different. And people with PTSD or bipolar disorder, I'm just reading that, often live in a constant state of survival. That's true.
Yep.
Can the heightened sense be mistaken for clairvoyance? I think there are a lot of people walking around with schizophrenia and other things like that are absolutely clairvoyant.
I was going to say, I've always been of the mind that people with diagnosed illnesses like that, I think sometimes, because I'm a believer in dimensions, and I do believe in dimensional shift, and I do believe in dimensional division within your energy. I think sometimes you have people who are sliding back and forth. I think, actually, I really believe that schizophrenics they are literally hearing things. I don't think that is a delusion. I think there's more to it than that. And I say that because I spoke of my uncle earlier, the priest who was actually the chair of the board of psychology at Pacifica University after he stepped away from the priesthood, 3 doctorates in psychology. One of them was dream psychology. He did his thesis paper on what's the word I'm looking for now? Schizophrenics. And in his research, he was pointing out the fact that there were isolated tribes in South America and Africa where young people who they thought were schizophrenic were drawing very, very specific symbols and pictures of things that they could have no knowledge of from cultures thousands of miles away. And he actually posed it in his thesis. Are they seeing things in a way that other people cannot? And
interesting.
But again, it does work. Even bipolar. Bipolar is a disruption. And I've always wondered if bipolar is as a result of all the different frequencies that we are inundated with constantly, because we are energy. We are, in effect, frequency. We are held together. We are literally billions of oscillating particles that are held together. Okay, but we are oscillating. We're a frequency. We are pure energy in many ways. Matter is kind of, how do you put it, an illusion, if you really break it down in science.
In what you said about being Dr. Dolittle, do you get a lot of animals come through to you?
I have, oh, Lord. Okay, I had my dog that died on me, 19 years ago? I still hear him. I still hear him. He was deaf, and he had this very specific whine that when he would do, he was just a little guy. He was a little, like a miniature dachshund, little tiny thing. In fact, his name was Peanut. And he would do this little whine. And it's funny because when I hear it plain as day, and my cats will start looking around. And I have 3 dogs currently, and they'll their heads will come up. Like, where did that come from? And I'll be like, oh God, Peanut, stop. I love you. I will always love you. Stop. But with animals, they attract to me, whether they're wild, feral, does not matter. They will show up, especially if they're injured. Like, I think Scotty's probably seen the picture of me with the, God, what was it? It was a baby. No, it was a baby possum. It'd be like not even as big as the palm of my hand. Baby possum that had fallen off its mother's back in a storm. And here I am driving it to the vet to get a wildlife specialist to take care of this thing. Even though I could have, I was like, no, it's a wild animal. It's going to have to be reintegrated into the wild. I'm going to take it to somebody who really can care for it. Plus, I have chickens and everything else. And as the possum gets bigger, that's not going to be a good thing. So, yep, to the vet I went. And the vet's like, how did this happen? I was like, it must have fallen off its mother, but it made its way to me. And so he goes to pull out my file. And this is the first time I had seen this vet. And he's like, you have like at least like 50 different animals in your file. I'm like, that's because if an animal is injured, if feral cats on my property, I said I have them spay and neutered. So for their safety, and because I can't tell you now how many female cats die because they prolapse their uterus because they give birth way too many times. I was like, plus the kittens, I'm trying to help my surroundings, but they're here constantly. I had a billy goat wander onto my property. I've had deer walk right up to me. My husband thinks it's my voice. He thinks it's the tone of my voice.
It's your energy. They're drawn to your energy because I'm exactly the same. But I think that one of the greatest, cruelest thing is that they don't have a voice, and we do. And so many things, animals. Like I have a 15-month-old Basset Hound, and he round about just before Christmas. I have a video of him, and he's so scared to actually get back on the bed. He's so terrified of what's obviously in my room, and I was asleep. I was out of it. Now, whether it was my previous dog, bless him, or whether it was someone else, and it took me 17 minutes on camera of trying to, whatever it was, tell it to bugger off so that my poor dog could come on the bed and go to sleep. And I think that, if only they had a voice, they could tell us so much, right?
I think they do
Right.
have voices though, because I mean, and I've always said that. It's like sometimes, like I'm the first person when somebody has a problem with their animal, they call me, and I'm like, well, okay, tell me what's going on. My daughter has a cat. Her cat's name is Shiva. Shiva is a very fat cat, but Shiva started peeing on my daughter's couch a couple of years ago. And she's not too old of a cat. She's like middle-aged cat. And so I said to her, what's going on in your house? First question, what is going on in your house? What is your husband doing? What I said, is he drinking? What is going on? Because cats are really sensitive. Of all the animals, they are probably the most sensitive. I said, Shiva is not going to have it. If he's doing stuff he shouldn't be doing, the cat is going to act out. I said it could be. I mean, she also has a dog, and I said to her, "Is Rocky bothering her? What's going on?" That's a territory thing when they start peeing. What is going on? Sure enough, when a couple of years later, my daughter divorced her husband, and it turned out he was beating. Like, she finally put cameras in, like I told her to. He was beating the animals. And now she just called me the other day. She said, "Mom, Shiva peed on my couch again. I don't get it." And I was like, this was right around New Year's, and I was like, "Did you put the cat, I told you, when New Year's was coming, put the cat in a safe place, like in a room where she feels safe, or in a cage, something that makes her feel safe, because the fireworks." I said, because that cat, I've noticed that since you divorced your husband, any loud noise, that cat is super hyper reactive where she never was before. So I guarantee he was trying to hit her with a broom or something that was making a noise that now she's got PTSD from it.
Oh my.
And she was like, "Oh no." And I'm like, "Oh yes." So
here's what I'd like to do, because we're
running out of time.
2 hours now. We're not running out of time. We could go until 3 a.m. if we wanted to, but we aren't gonna. Hawk asked a question. Let's wrangle this question, and then we're going to start wrapping it. How do you tell the difference between heightened perception and anxiety, trauma, or pattern seeking?
Can I ask Hulk why he asked that question?
He's curious. I think he's trying to discern what's going on with him.
But is that what I'm saying? Is that coming from his own perception, or his own, what he's going through right now? Because or was it from a scientific point of view? That would be interesting to know.
Just a curiosity thing, Hawk, or is this something that
it's I mean, it's just amongst it's okay to answer it, because I mean, I don't know when he's going to answer it, but I can tell you they all cross over each other in many ways that you
own perception.
Okay. They all cross over. Like, I'm a pattern recognizer. I am known for that. Okay. 1,000% known for that. But why do I recognize patterns? And this is what I've always said to people. Why do I see patterns where everybody else does not see them until they're too late? And I see them as clear as day. That's part of my gift. That doesn't come from anxiety. It does, I think, come from a situational awareness, which is also part of the gift. I mean, these are all things that layer on top of each other. And I always say, trauma can enhance your gift or deplete your gift, depending on how you handle it. I mean, Scotty knows this about me. I was in an absolutely horribly abusive marriage when, in fact, had just come out of it when I met Scotty. Horribly abusive, physically, mentally, on all levels abusive. When I came out of it, one of the first things I did not do was blame him. I started looking at why I put up with so much. I started looking at why it took my children being scared shitless for me to finally say enough is enough. Why wasn't it me? Why didn't I break away from myself? Why did it have to be for somebody else? I mean, all these things came into play. It created a trauma in me. But if I had worked through and let myself deflect what had happened to blame it on him, I would never be the person I am now. You have to clarify to yourself, like, okay, I made mistakes too. I should never have let this happen. By doing that, I was actually empowering him. I went from being, like Wendy, a mouse to a lioness, because I didn't lie to myself about what happened. Right. But again, that causes you to start watching for patterns, because you don't ever want it to repeat, ever. And so part of being clairvoyant, part of being who we are, empaths, whatever you want to define us as, because there are many branches under the clairvoyant branch. However you want to define us, the one thing I can tell you about every single one of us, bar none, is we are all highly situationally aware. All of us, every single one of us, partially because the gift allows for it and calls for it. Like I always say that we're like the early warning system. It's like, everybody else is just walking along and your radar is going off. But that causes you to be situationally aware. It causes you to see the patterns in the construct. And Scotty, I've said it to you many times. I believe what we are is 1,000% natural. And there is, eventually science is going to catch up and figure it out.
Sure.
There is a physics that goes behind it. But it's whether or not you're recognizing it. You worry about mental illness, you worry about all these things. You got to lose that construct and start embracing your instincts. Your instincts are there for a reason.
Mm.
And we are animals. I know people hate it when I say that, but I'm like, no, we are. We are very intelligent animals, but we're animals. Our animal instincts are a defense mechanism. You listen to them.
Staring at. I think, Hawk, if you have a gift and you feel that if you're seeing things and you're hearing things and you're getting gut feelings about stuff, they're there for a reason, and you've got to tap into that, and you've got to listen to it. And it's like, where do I take it from here? Do I want to develop it? Do I want to? Because people sometimes don't know. Some people don't want to develop it. Some people do want to develop it. And let me tell you, once you open that Pandora's box and you go down that road, you're out of the other side of the matrix. You're looking at everything very, very differently. You're questioning everything. Why?
Yep.
Why is this? What's that for? Why am I being shown this? And you cannot take the blue pill anymore because you've already swallowed the red one. And you're like, and I think if you're seeing things, Hawk, and you're getting these feelings and perceptions, you need to develop them if you so choose to. But it's not for everyone. I mean, I know people that have the gift and they have no wish to go down that road because it's scary. Sometimes you will wake up at night and you will see someone hypothetically standing at the bottom of your bed or standing beside you, or you'll go into your dining room and you'll see the image of someone just who was there, or you'll be in your car. I often have this in my car. I look in the back of my seat and there's someone in the back seat of my car, and it's shit me up so many times I can't. I'm like, when you bugger off, I'm driving. And I also think when you meet someone as well, when you go on a date with them, you're like, oh no, I really like this person, and they're just going to be, it's not going to work. It's just, and as you said, he doesn't want to do it. So for you, it's like, I would write it down, keep a journal, and just say, when I was looking at this, I got that. When I did this, I heard that. But it's given to you for a reason. Doesn't mean you have to use it, but it's there for a reason.
Hawk, I think I know why you're on the train of thought you're on. See, I'm in cybersecurity too, and I know where you're going with that. And yes, it is effective because you can see that's why I'm effective at what I do. I'm really good at it. Why? I can see the patterns, and I let my gut follow the patterns. And yeah, it's very effective. I also do that with the OSINT, because OSINT is, as you probably are aware of, you're in technology, you understand what an OSINT specialist does. For those who don't know, it's open source information. Basically, when you're backgrounding something, you're double checking information. OSINT is a way to do that. It's a toolkit you can basically utilize to do that. If you allow yourself to open up, and you're going to see the patterns within the matrix of the internet. And I can't explain this to people. Scotty, I think I've told you this before. The internet is like a super highway for us. Okay.
Sure.
We can skate the internet like nobody's business, because it's like our energy flows better on the internet. I can read people sometimes better on the internet than I can when they're standing right in front of me. You're an OPSEC. Nice. Yeah, I'm a CEH also. I'm also a CISSP, CISSP. Awesome, dude. That's awesome. You can 100% utilize it. 1,000%. I do. Like I said, I do it all the time. because I'll just let I'll let my head relax, I'll let my brain relax. And I know that's hard to do when we're working, but you can do it. Just let it relax and the patterns will emerge to you. It makes you so much more effective than most others. Believe me. I mean, I'm the ghost in the shell because I'm a female hacker, which makes me even more unusual.
So I was just going to say to you, Scotty, it's not often you have two clairvoyants either side of you on your show.
I know, 2 hot clairvoyants.
You're kind of sandwiched between us.
Don't give him ideas. Don't give him ideas.
Now that you put that picture in my mind.
You're funny.
Very, very strong, opinionated psychic women. Oh my God, you're so in trouble.
Who are going to both beat you with a snowball if you don't knock it off.
And folks, the show's a wrap. No. So
you
can run, but you can't hide.
That's right. That's right. Well,
and just for the record, I have to say, when he did his hair, I agree with you with that point you were saying about his hair. I was like, that's like a woman. We do. We go blonde, or we, And I said to
my
Scotty,
head because I was like,
it will come back stronger, and it will come back healthier.
Because I was sick of having the little tuft here that looked great. And from I always said the last few years, I said, I'm like a Michelangelo sculpture. I'm compositionally correct from only one angle. And that was this angle. I had that hair and it would swoop up.
Yes, but that would not. It would not be. You've known for a couple of years something was wrong with your relationship. I'm telling you, Scotty, it's got to do with change.
And it's got to do with change. In your body. It does manifest in our body. And the thing is, our hair, I was telling Scotty this, our hair is normally 8 months to a year behind us. So it's like, it will come back, and it will come back in a different way, and it'll come back stronger. But, I could talk to you. I'd love to have a chat with you off screen, and we must arrange that on a time zone that works for both of us. But you're very interesting. I loved everything, and I'm glad I could join tonight and just kind of catch you guys.
I'm still getting the Princess Di vibe from you. That's so funny. And she's another one, a lion. She is a lioness that people just did not see that in her, but she had to grow into it. And, she was an empath.
Not on camera. You could confirm
that. Dude, she was, and let me tell you, she was an empath also. And
Diana was, yeah.
The one thing if I could tell anybody anything about the gift is we feel pain. Like, you can't imagine the way empaths feel pain, because we don't only shoulder our own, we shoulder your pain too.
I think being a strong woman, I mean, as I said, I don't know if Scotty's told you, I do a podcast on a Sunday night called Wicked Women, and it's a podcast by women for women. And one thing I've learned through doing it and listening to other women and a lot of guys, we become stronger because we've got no choice but to be strong. And we go through so much shit that's thrown at us that we become this fuck you attitude, that you're not going to hurt me, you're not going to hurt anyone else I love. And you become this very protective mama bear. But also, as I said, when you're in love with someone, you become it's your Achilles heel, it's your weak spot, whether that's your partner, your husband, or whatever it is, And I think we're also, love is blind, and it's one of the most powerful words. I love you, I love them is one of the most powerful words, and it's also one of the most toxic words to say. And I think the most important thing, and I'll say this, and I always say it on my show, and I said it in Robertson, if you don't love yourself first, you cannot have a healthy relationship. And Scotty has got now the chance on his show and in his home and with his car and with everything else to love himself and to actually find himself, because you know what, he's a pretty cool dude. I've known him for over 20 years. He's more wiser and intelligent than most men I've known. And if I'd been over in America 20 years ago, probably this shit would not be going down.
I'm going to tell you, you just gave me totally goosebumps, because my tagline for years for the Vixen's Vault, which is my podcast, was love yourself first, else you can never love another. Mm-hmm. And that is so funny, because you said that as you're saying, I'm thinking, oh my God, that's been my tagline for how many years? Love yourself first, else you can never love another. And that's the truth. If you cannot love yourself, you're not capable of
I
loving
love
somebody
myself.
else.
Not enough. Not enough,
Not-
my darling.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
But you will, because you have no choice now but to. And it's like, I think of you as Braveheart when he went freedom. And it's like, and I mean
Yes.
that in the most respectful way. You are free, and thank the fuck you are free. Because I tell you
Wow.
what, if you'd stayed in that situation, you wouldn't be talking to us in about a year's time.
Yeah,
Well-
I told him that too. I didn't see that.
Remember, William Wallace was forced into the position he was in,
Absolutely.
and
And the French princess, obviously they used it for the movie. But I
Right.
mean, at the end of the day, you've got England calling to you. You've got Scotland and Ireland here waiting for you, as I have America and Canada. And,
Hold
sooner
on.
or later, life will get better.
Barbie D, I have to say goodnight to Barbie D. I didn't know you were
Bye,
here this
Barbie.
late, Barbie D. Good to see you. You have a nice night.
That's because we're all sitting in the living room having a conversation in our psychic minds.
That's
We're
right.
like,
Yeah, there you go.
it's very hard.
Yep.
But I
Thanks
thought-
the fuck you are free. That's fuck. And do you know what, Hulk? I couldn't put it better than himself, because he is like Braveheart, and it's like you are free. And if you have so much toxicity around you, your body manifests as it physically in
Yep.
ill health. And now I said to Scotty, you're just gonna fly, baby. You got the sexy truck. You got this. You're looking better every day. I talk to you every day. I talk to this man. And every day he looks better. And I say to him, if you fucking cry anymore, I'm going to come over there and I'm just going to push your head in my bosoms, because quite frankly, literally, you need to stop crying over that woman.
What
You
do I
really
have to do
do.
wrong for that to happen?
But you know what, Wendy, though, that says a lot, because he trusts you. Because the thing is he's walking around all the time, 24/7, repressing it.
Exactly.
It's like he doesn't have very many people he can actually
No.
vent that to. And it says a lot. It says a lot about you, and it says a lot about him, which is that he's learning to trust correctly. And I say that with a big old exclamation point next to it, because I think you've misplaced your trust, Scotty. You misplaced your love. I think you do love yourself, but
Absolutely.
I think you tried to impress what you see love as into somebody who didn't see it the same way. And that never works.
That's become rather obvious. So,
Well, like I said,
we need to do a conversation, Wiccan. If you'd like to come on Wicked Women or Robertson, that would be amazing, because there's so many things from a clairvoyant point of view and an empath. I think we'd have a really good show about.
oh, I think we'd have a lot of fun. I love to come on. Just let me know when. The only night I can't do it is Wednesdays, and that's because I have my show.
Sunday afternoons at 4 p.m.
Oh, that's perfect.
So your time.
And you, Hulk, I've heard a lot of things about you. And I did actually message you, Hulk. I messaged you on Facebook, but I don't think you've got the messages yet. But thank you very much. And, likewise, I'm not normally up this time. I really am not. So I watched this the next morning.
5:30.
But for some reason, I've had a shitty day, and Scotty, I was talking to Scotty earlier on, and I just happened to oh God, I can't sleep. I'm going to put it on, and I watched it. So, and I'm glad I did, because, it's really, really interesting listening to you. And as you were talking, I was going tick, 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 tick. And I thought, I've got to fucking come on here. I've got to come on here, and I have got to tell and say, because, if you watch Wicked Women, you've probably have heard my opinion and voices, and I'm sure on Robertson, you're gonna hear them. But isn't it weird that Scotty and I have almost the same name?
You and I are going to talk, and I'm going to tell you a lot of other weird things, and things I've told Scotty. So trust me, we're going to have a very interesting conversation, Wendy. But
although Robertson is the name and Roberts is the sept, so I always get that one over, Scotty. I'm like, lord it over him. I go, well, you do know you're only the sept, don't you? And he's like, yes, I know. Know your place, dear. Know your place.
That just means she's on top. So,
well, at least you guys have common names. Oh, come on, my name means planet. My last name is Planeta. And I always say I'm planet with the orbiting satellite, Planet A. That's the name of my company, Planet A. So it's
Yeah, that's
I don't
right.
know.
Planet A.
Yeah.
It's clever off of your name. The great company
Well,
name.
you know, I will let you guys go, but Hulk, send me a friend request if you can, and we'll have a chat. And listen, I'm calling you Wickham. What is your actual name, my lovely?
It's Nancy Planetta. You can find me on Scotty's Facebook. I'm there.
And I would love to chat with you, Nancy. What I'll do is I'll reach out to you, and we'll have a good chat and go from there. And it's been an amazing show. Thanks for allowing me to be on it.
Oh,
Well,
I
Wendy?
enjoyed it.
Thanks for calling in. I'm always trying to get you to call in, but I know it's too late and too much in the middle of the night for you. So it was a nice surprise to see
Just
you.
when you least expect it, Scotty, I turn up.
That's right.
And
Always
Hawk, by the way, let me say, Hawk, by the way, good talking to you. And you and I will talk again because, like I said, I can help you in many, many, many ways to loosen up and learn how to use that because it does work in our field. It works really well, and they don't see you coming.
Yeah.
This is a good time, Scotty, for you to show the promo for Robertson.
I could do
I
that.
agree.
Before you go, this Wendy sent me this little promo video. It doesn't have the words Robertson in it, but she put this together from all the pictures we put together.
And I
for our
sent it to
promo.
him. And I said, this is where I sent it to him just before, either the day of the accident, a day of his operation, or just after it ran out. And I said, this is to remind you that we will return and we'll come back stronger than ever. And he designed all these pictures himself, and he puts his own energy in. I think the pictures say everything.
Well,
That's
here
awesome.
we go. This is a little, 38-second clip. Here we go. Well, there you go. That was a little promo clip. from
And Wendy,
Robertson.
by the way, you might be up because the sun had a pretty big eruption earlier tonight.
Yes, I did hear something like that as well.
Yeah.
But I just love that picture of Scotty hanging on to my car because he's never actually met the car, and somehow he's actually
He's never
envisioned
met the
himself onto it. That is so funny.
That's an awesome video, guys. It was really,
Well,
really good
Wendy
promo.
put that together.
That's a
So-
really good promo.
Well,
And,
here's to Tuesday. All being well, fingers crossed. I'm looking after my
Tuesday.
mum. She's not too well, but it's like literally, I hope to do it this Tuesday because, you know, we've been gone such a long time and it's about time we're back.
what does he say?
He says you
both
both
guys
look like you've been together a very long time. I agree with you, Hawk.
Oh,
Well, we've known each other over like 21 years, something now.
yeah. I've known Wendy as long as I've known Rainey.
Make sure you guys get your promo stuff to me because I will post it. And I've got a pretty expansive Facebook. So married. Oh God, don't say that word to Scotty right now.
Yeah,
But
that's a-
breathe.
In through the nose, up through the nose.
But, you know, I think that you can be with someone and you have that energy as in
Yes.
the fact that it's like you don't need to be married to them or whatever, but you have that connection that it just makes you feel like you're together.
You know
I
your
think-
soulmate. You know your
Absolutely,
soulmate.
and
Yep.
I know where Scotty's. I've been divorced. I've come out of that other side, and it was like, oh, I'm never going to do that again. And you know what? I've been out a long time now. I've been divorced since 2011, and it's like now I look at marriage completely different. And but I think you have to, you know, everything happens in the time that it's meant to, and I'm just glad that this man's in my life. He makes a massive difference.
I got to ask you a weird question. Scotty, let me ask her
Yeah.
this question. I have to ask her this.
Oh.
Okay. It's something I do, so I have to ask you.
Okay.
Do you scent your mate?
Do
Because
I
with
what?
me, scent. So with me, when I am okay, like when I met Raphael, my husband, we in fact we just passed our 15th anniversary. When I met him, the attraction, I knew automatically there was a draw there. Okay. It was automatically immediate. There was a physical pull there, but his scent, his smell, and I don't say that to be rude or anything else, but every male carries a scent. Like I said to him, it was like a drug to me, like a pheromone, like it was crazy. And I was like, every time, even my ex-husband, I sent it to my ex-husband. I said, it makes it like almost impossible for me to walk away. I know, stop it, Hawk. I see your little thing there. I'm not repeating it. But yeah, it's a scent. I mean, I've only met like one other female that has ever said that and was like, oh yeah, I do too. And I'm like, yeah, it's like, I can't explain it. It's like candy corn or for cotton candy. It's like crazy.
I gotta say, like,
Wendy, just
how do I? I have. Scotty sent me a lot of. He sent me a lot of things over to the UK, and I have. He sent a lot of all his books that he ever sent to me are all personally with a message inside, and you know when you touch, obviously when you're across the ocean, you touch what you can. That sounds good, doesn't it? You touch what you can, and it's literally, you know, and he's designed all my stuff. So Scotty has touched my life in so many ways. He designed The Wicked Women, he designed The Dark Huntress. You know, he has touched my life in so many ways. And I think what I tend to do is I eat and smell and taste energy. So I am drawn to someone, and it's almost like something says, you need to talk to that person and you need to go there. And I don't even know how Scotty and I met on all those years ago. And I think we might do a Robertson on actually our story of how we met and actually open it up more.
I saw a magnificently leggy picture of you 21 years ago. You were wearing a schoolgirl schoolgirl shirt and a white men's dress shirt hiked up and tied in a knot. And something. And you were sitting, you know, I can't mimic it. Oh, sensual. Whatever.
Yeah, I do know that one. Yes, I do. It's a very good answer, actually.
I said something like, I think this is my new favorite picture of all time. Something to that effect. I don't know what I said.
Oh God! As an empath right now, I am freaking dying. This is Wendy. You are a freaking trip. I love you.
Well, the thing is, I guess there's that dominant side to me, which obviously, like, you probably pick up my energy. I am a dominant woman in lots of ways, but I'm also, I mean, you know, I'll put the whip and the cat o' nine tails to one side, but literally, I am a force to be reckoned with. And if you fuck with someone that I love, then you're going down, and I'm taking you down. But it's like at the same time, when I met Scotty, I was a very different person, and it's like we were flirting like hell with each other and talking to each other all the time. And you know, he was like, "Well, why don't you come over here and come to my Scotch and cookies night?" And you know, like and I was like, "Really? Really, you want me to come over there?" And
secrets.
And literally, and I'd actually just met my ex-husband just literally at the same time, and I ended up going on a trip to Canada rather than to the States. But we, we've always, like, I always, Scotty knows me inside out. I mean, he's seen. He was just saying he knows me well, and it's I find it very funny that the first time I ever saw him was on, and I say I won't go into the whole story because we'll save it, but the first time I saw him, I saw this guy and I just thought he had this presence about him. He had this amazing presence from his photograph. And I was like, he's kind of cute, right? And I don't really go for sort of reddy brown heads. I don't really kind of go for that. But he was just so interesting. And when we do Robertson, if you go back and look at some of the videos we did, he's matching me. Like, he doesn't know what color I'm wearing. He'll turn up wearing the same color as me, and he'll go, I've got to look as good as you. I've got to look as good as you. And so when he calls me his podcast wife, probably there's probably an ironic truth there.
Yep, I would agree. I would absolutely agree.
It's
And I
something.
think that everybody was aware of that a long time ago.
Oh, people used to tease us about it. And I'm like, no, I'm a married man now. I don't think those things.
And to be fair, like Scotty's never ever crossed a boundary where that's
No,
concerned. You know, we would laugh and joke and stuff, but he never ever crossed a boundary.
And to be
And
fair, neither
neither
did
did
Wendy.
I. Neither did I, because it's just not what you do. It's not who I am. And if
right.
a
Yeah.
man is taken, then that's not for me. But at the same time, you know, love this man very much, and we have a great past, and I think we need to look at
We
that
do.
in R&R.
You know what? It's so funny because I knew that you didn't have to say that. I knew that about you, and I know that about him. Like I said, Scotty's always. I know that there were accusations thrown at him in the relationship, and I know Scotty. I've known Scotty for a long time, and you know when we, like I said, Scotty, think about the chat years ago. Think about all the people in the chat.
Oh, yeah.
Never ever did you ever step out of line with anybody. I know
Never,
because I own the
never,
chat. I
ever.
mean,
He never did. And you know what? He would go through the hells of fire for that
yep,
person.
yep,
And he
yep.
would have done. He wouldn't do now because I'd be blocking his way, going, "Don't you fucking dare!" Right? Because that's not happening no more. But it's like he would never do that. He was loyal to the end, and he's got nothing to reproach himself about. And now
Yep.
it's all about him being William Wallace and putting that beautiful hat back on for Robertson Robertson and looking smart in his suit and going, "Hi, babe," and I'm going, "Babe, is my cleavage up high enough?
Oh,
Is it high?"
God.
'Cause,
Some of the
you know.
conversations we had before the shows,
Oh, it's so funny.
it was like we're getting ready and we're looking at each other on camera. I go, "How do you like my suit and tie?" And she goes, "I like it. I like it." And she's over there and she's primping. And I said, wait. I said, let me help you out. I said, tip your camera down, like this. I said, tip your camera down a little bit. And she
Oh
tipped it
God.
down, and she goes, what? She'd look at me, and it's just the heaving cleavage. I said, now pull that vest you're wearing or whatever it is down a little bit. And she pulls it down. I said, yeah, do that. Do a little bit of that. I said, okay, just sit there for a minute.
But you
Now
know,
you're
it's good. It's
now you're perfect.
it's light-hearted humor though, because at the
It
end of the day,
was.
because
It was
it put him off. He was so unhappy sometimes that it was like, "Well, okay, what can I do?" And I say to him, Is this top?" Like, because he'd say, "Wendy, we've got to have the cleavage, and we do it on Wicked Women. To be fair, Val and I will get our cleavage out as far as we can go, because it's like at the end of the day, you can be intelligent and have lots of cleavage, and you can be. Let me just say this for the record: you can have a lot of cleavage and not be intelligent.
That's
There is a
That's
exactly
difference.
very
true.
true.
That's the difference between that. But Scotty and I, so I look forward to having those conversations again of like, is this working for you, Scotty? Am I showing enough now? And seeing what I never tell him what color I'm wearing, and he always pretty much 95% turns up in the same color.
Yeah,
Well,
that was interesting.
you guys have been given a really special gift, and you know it.
Thank
So,
you.
just you know what you got to do. You know this is a gift. I mean, not many people get a chance to revisit something that gave them great enjoyment. No, I'm just saying that, Scotty, I will have a conversation with Wendy, but I am saying that there is not many people get a chance to revisit. They don't get a second chance with something that made them really happy. And
there's some truth there.
That's kind of what I'm saying. Don't worry about what anybody else thinks or says. What you got to worry about is what you guys think and say. That's what needs to be worried about. And Scotty, that's where you always messed up. So I'm telling you, brother, I love you. Don't fuck this up, Scotty. Is what I'm saying. You let other don't fuck up the way things are going. Just go with the flow, Scotty. Go with the flow. Don't hit the brake. Don't stop and listen to the radio. Don't take that phone call, somebody bitching at you, who shall remained unnamed right now. Just go with the flow.
I'm just looking forward to getting my hands on his truck, because it's a beast. And at the end of the day now, I can just go to him. I just want to get my hands on your truck because it's a
Oh, okay.
beastie, right? And
Yeah.
I want to give that baby a bit of a going over around the corners. And now of course, and I say it with lovingly humour here, I can just take your leg and just say, baby, I'm not
Oh,
giving it back to you now. I'm just not giving it back. You're just gonna have to
dude, he
wait.
looks like a kid on Christmas morning waiting to open up his Christmas gifts. Whoa,
Oh my
this
God.
is so wrong. This is so wrong. Scotty, you literally look like a child on Christmas morning with your mouth hanging open and everything. Like,
This is what
I
he
gotta open that
needs in his
gift.
life. He
I
needs to
agree.
have stuff like this in his life
Here,
because it makes him smile. It gives him the good
I'm
endorphins.
gonna load
And
a
you know what?
picture up. There you go.
Oh God.
That's the one.
Merry Christmas, Scotty. Merry Christmas.
That was 21 years ago, thereabouts. I don't know.
Yes,
That
And
yes,
was
she
it
still
was.
looks great. She still looks
It
great.
doesn't
God
look
love
any
you.
different.
Yep, she still looks great. But that's
No.
that's a person who's good with themselves. You gotta remember that. She's feeling good about
Actually,
herself, and that's a
my
good
hair
thing.
is sort of my
There
hair
you
is
go.
blonder.
Oh,
That
there goes
is
Hawk.
that is my hair's blonder, and I actually have a bigger cleavage now. But I still have that skirt, believe it or not, and the tie.
Oh,
So
the other picture that I liked, the real early one,
oh
was
God.
the over the knee black boots, and you're
Oh
Over the
right. Oh,
laying
I
in like
remember
a
that.
black dress,
dominatrix.
mini dress. You're laying on the bed, and you've got your legs up in the air with the black boots,
Shit.
the spiky heeled black boots with the up over
Scotty,
the
do
knee.
you
And
still have that
was
picture? Do you still have that picture of me on the black
Oh,
rug wearing the
which
black
one?
dress?
Which
The
one?
one of me wearing the one of me that set off all the issues before. The one of me on the black rug, and I've got the black lace dress on, and
Oh,
you can see my legs. I'm sure you've got it in your many files of Wicked
it's
Wendy.
probably buried in a picture file somewhere. I don't know.
Scotty starts going through old hard drives. Where is it?
Yeah, it's like, quick,
Yeah, really.
where the fuck is that
You'll have
picture?
to send me a
It's,
new one.
he
You're in
will
a
know which
black
one. It's
dress.
If
You
yeah, it's
say?
yeah, I'm on a black dress. And you can see my legs and I'm lying on a black
Oh, is it the one with your legs up with the
that's the one.
black
That's
boots?
the one, yeah.
I
Yeah.
thought you were laying on a bed.
No,
Oh,
darling.
dear
It's
Maybe I
God.
and you
noticed.
know what? And the thing is, I'm all about empowering women, and it's like I'm not ashamed of my age, and at the end of the day, it's like if you got it, baby, flaunt it, and as long as you do it classy and tasteful, I'm all for that.
Well,
I'm
there's
with you on
And
that.
I don't have to go on OnlyFans, mate. I don't have to do anything like that because at the end of the day, I'm too classy for that.
that's right.
Oh, I like
That's
you.
right, damn it.
I like you. I really,
Here, hold
really
on.
like you,
I
Wendy. I
don't
can't tell
need
you
to
how
sell-
much
I
I
don't
like
need
you right
to-
now.
I don't need to sell pictures of my body and my boobs, as much as I
Oof.
could do with the money, and probably I would
Oh.
actually make a lot of money from it. At the end of the day, if
Well, you
you're
probably
if you're
can.
100% comfortable with yourself and who you are, those pictures are fucking me. So I look back and go, do you know what, Wendy? You were a babe.
Yeah.
All right, Scotty,
This
I
isn't
gotta
the
jump
one we're
off.
talking about. This is the one we're talking about, but it's close.
Oh, jeez. Yep, dominatrix. I said it earlier. Dominatrix. That's a great picture. That's actually
Jesus
a really great
Christ.
picture. All right, Scotty, I gotta jump off because I gotta be up early in the morning, and my husband's like doing the "Where are you?"
Come to bed, woman. Come
Yes,
to bed.
pretty much. Like, I'm here. Hello, where are you?
It's
All
so
right.
lovely to meet you.
Wendy, you and I will talk.
Look
Nancy,
forward to
Scotty.
thank you for being here.
Always.
I appreciate your time and everything tonight.
No problem. I really enjoyed it.
Great
Scotty,
having you. We'll
you're
talk
going to keep
again.
putting those pictures up. I
That
talk
was
to you
nice,
later.
that one.
Love
right.
you guys. All right.
Love
Good
you
night.
too, Nancy. Bye. All right, Wendy. I am
Yes.
going to also.
I'm going to bed. I'm going back to sleep now, darling, and I will talk
All
to you
right.
tomorrow.
All right, we'll talk tomorrow. Well, it's tomorrow there
Oh,
already.
his mic has disappeared.
Has it?
Oh,
Is my mic
no,
here?
can't hear you.
I don't know what it's doing.
disappeared.
Hold on. It says
Nope.
it's on.
Nope, still not there. Just me.
What the hell?
No, completely disappeared, Scotty.
Anything now?
If people can still hear me, maybe they can let us know, but I cannot hear you.
It says it's on. So I don't know what I did.
But it's been a great show. And everybody tune in on Tuesday for Robertson Robertson.
Yeah.
And because it's going to be a great show then as well.
Hear me now? Can you hear me? We can hear and see both of you, says Field Guy.
No, Scotty, still can't hear you.
Interesting. I've got my internal
Oh, I cannot hear Scotty at all. How weird.
mic back on. There we go. Something on your end, maybe? Button got pushed or something. All right. Wendy?
I cannot hear Scotty. So I'm just going to say good
Talk to
night.
you.
Love you lots. And talk to you soon. Mwah.
All right. See you later. All right, guys. There you go. What? Did you like my sign language? Wendy? Hawk and I were just talking about that earlier. I know you can't hear me, but I want to tell you that I was going to say goodbye and take you out the hell now. So my sign language is bad. I'm sorry. So might be a StreamYard glitch. All right, guys. I want to thank everybody for being here and sticking around as long as you did. We lost some people early on, but a lot of you just stuck around. Thanks for being here. And so on our way out, what am I going to play on the way out? We might as well do the, what is this one? I can do Captain's Cabin out. We can do the Robertson Exit. Here we go, since we were just talking about it. Good night, everybody.